season, him on one. We might see playing in the Premier League, Lamar, if some of the big guns get their way. I'm not sure where he might end up. Ball played towards the halfway line. It bounces off Iheanacho. Touré allows it to run. Here's Gundogan, the German international. Gundogan thinks it out towards the left-hand side. Zinchenko is there. Zinchenko pulls the bouncing ball down. He's up against Amati. It bounces off the two of them, but Albrighton's back in there as well and plays it forward towards Amati. And since going a goal down, Leicester haven't really threatened an equaliser.
And you know, the DNA of Leicester City, and it's still the same, I believe, in terms of get it forward. You engage everybody in this stadium when you get it up to those forward players, and then you get people wide, you cross it, you get it in the box. What they're now doing, particularly this evening, is that they're almost trying to show these City younger players in particular that they can. There's a flag gone
offside against Gabriel
that they
Jesus.
can play their football, and I think it's too slow, it's too predictable at the moment. It allows City to recover, get behind the ball, and then all of a sudden they're very difficult to break down. This isn't the greatest Manchester City team. It's a young, they're talented players, but they're inexperienced at this level. Now the likes of Iborra, the likes of Andy King, Albrighton, Okazaki, Christian Fuchs, Harry Maguire, all of these boys should be playing with a little bit more tempo. It should be far more upbeat and getting after this Manchester City team.
Manchester City are winning by 1-0, but Leicester City with Fuchs on the left-hand side plays it forward. That's nicely flighted to Chilwell. Chilwell now with an early cross. It's missed by Mangala. Okazaki might have a chance. Iheanacho with a shot. It's saved by Claudio Bravo, leaping down to his right. And Chilwell was beaten to it by Adarabioyo, who put it out for a throw.
Yeah, great save from the goalkeeper, but that's much better. All that was a forward pass from Christian Fuchs in the left-back position, just down the line for Ben Chilwell to get on the end of it, put a cross in, and they nearly scored.
City coming forward. Here is Diaz making a run across the defence. He gets up, he's still got the ball, he shoots, and eventually Leicester have got defenders in there, and Fuchs in the end, it was who blocked it away, and Leicester can clear it away. At the other end, Andy, should Iheanacho have buried that?
Well, again, it was Okazaki who just set it for him. He could have hit it first time, could have maybe hit it a little bit better. I think I'll give a bit more credit to the goalkeeper there, John. It wasn't the most powerful shot, was it? But it was accurate enough. It looked like it was sneaking in the corner. Goalkeeper made a good stop.
And great hunger at the other end from Diaz there, who's had every right to be dispossessed really, but just didn't give it up. But Leicester coming again now, half-time approaching, 10 minutes or so to play, and Albrighton's won a corner over on the far side as Leicester play from right to left. So Fuchs trots across there to that portion of the ground where the Manchester City supporters are, and in fact a yellow inflatable banana gives them away just as I'm looking at them. Fuchs raises both arms, flights it into the near post, comes off ahead, quite possibly Yaya Touré's head.
Yeah, I think it was, John, yeah.
And wide of his near post for another corner.
Yaya Touré in at the near post there, just making sure that they want to clip anything in, because Bravo's not the biggest goalkeeper, so you can understand Christian Fuchs there. That one was aimed just under the crossbar. They get bodies in and around the goalkeeper, they can worry him a little bit. They're zoning across the 6-yard box, the City boys, in fact deep into their 6-yard box.
Corner's taken short, work back to King. King's ball into the area is headed away on the edge of the box, all the way to Amati in the centre circle. And Leicester going back to Amati again, who lifts a high ball up towards the edge of the area, but that's an easy one for Zinchenko, just to cushion a header back to Claudio Bravo. But going back to what we were talking about with Mark Pugac before the match, in terms of the Leicester team selection, in this position, 1-0 down, you're instantly thinking, well, when is he going to bring on Vardy and Mahrez and Damari Gray?
He may well do that, John, at some point. I think by the nature of the selection, he'd rather not. He'd rather keep them and give them a night off, but I think it's an opportunity missed. I really do. I think that they've just come off the back of a poor performance at the weekend, and I think it would have been an opportunity tonight in a big cup game against the biggest club at the moment, or the best club out there for sure. I think it would have been an opportunity for them tonight to get a win on their own patch and get a really good scalp in doing so.
Well, Diaz took it around the outside of Albrighton, who had a little hack at him, really, just tripped him, and it's a free kick to Manchester City that they take short. Yeah, it's the hoary old subject, isn't it, with this competition? What sort of team should you play? But it's the quarter-finals.
And would we expect Claude Puel, should Leicester come back and win this match tonight and win a semi-final, do we think he'll leave them all out in the final? I think not, somehow. I don't think so. Nor should he.
City with the ball at the back. Mangala plays it to the halfway line, where it was headed forward by Andy King. Gundogan with a nutmeg on Chilwell on the halfway line. They do like a nutmeg, don't they, Manchester City's players?
Yeah.
I think there could be a record for the number of nutmegs.
Oh, in training, I could imagine.
In a Premier League season. Here is Phil Foden on the left-hand side. Diaz, he's the little guy with the gloves on. Phil Foden, man of Northwest, no gloves. Back it comes to Zinchenko. No gloves for the Ukrainian either. Ball out to the right-hand side. Bernardo Silva is there. Of course, it won't be long before Leicester City can use their new Portuguese player, Adrian Silva.
Yeah.
Who, you know, how different would things have been?
Yep, he's a good player.
Had it not been for that 14 seconds.
Correct.
That they missed the deadline by, but he'll be able to play for them next month. Here now is Chilwell carrying it forward for Leicester City. Plays it out to the right-hand side. Albrighton's got a little bit of ground to make up, but he's on the ball now, crossing right-footed straight into Zinchenko, and it ricochets behind into the hoardings for a corner to Leicester City. 1-0 to Manchester City here, still 0-0 at the Emirates, and we're going to go to the Emirates just after we see this Leicester City corner. Carlisle still winning 1-0 against Gillingham in the FA Cup replay. Do get in touch at 5Live Sport on your social media. Corner for Fuchs, and in it goes into the 6-yard box. Claudio Bravo stretching for it, got one glove to it, and it bounces out of play over here down to our left near the corner flag on the other side, so it'll be a second consecutive corner.
Yep, Mark Albrighton now coming out to take this one, so clearly the message very much, whip these as fast as you can in under that crossbar, get the big guys in and around them, because again, just test Claudio Bravo's abilities in coming out and trying to punch something in a crowd scene.
It's not the biggest Manchester City team to defend set pieces by any means. Albrighton in towards the back post, and it's headed down, but referee madly says there's been a push in there. Harry Maguire turns, looks at the referee, looks at the assistant, shakes his head, and it's a goal. It's a free kick to Manchester City, who lead here by 1-0. So over on 5Live Sports Extra you can hear commentary on the Arsenal-West Ham quarter-final, but it doesn't sound like it's much of the game with you, Alistair Bruce Ball.
No, poor game, John. 5 minutes to half-time, 0-0. We've just had the first clear-cut chance of the game, though. Good sweeping move by Arsenal down the left-hand side. Wonderful swinging cross from Kolasinac at full speed. Theo Walcott, unmarked, 10 yards out, diving header, got the power. It was way off target. I think the Arsenal fans would rather it had fallen to Monsieur Giroud. Arsenal 0, West Ham 0.
And here at Leicester, with the home side in possession, in their own defensive third, just sort of holding their breath a little bit as they play that away from the back, but Amati does well in the end, and Iheanacho Okazaki stabs it over the top, but that's got far too much on it, and Claudio Bravo is out of his penalty area, under pressure from Chilwell, and Claudio Bravo has passed it straight to Iheanacho, who's going to shoot from 23 yards out, but it sails away over the angle of post and bar.
Yeah, Ben Chilwell made a great run there, and Okazaki very nearly found him with a really clever little through ball. Claudio Bravo mopped it up, but then casually gave possession back to Leicester. Iheanacho tries a strike from about 23, 24 yards out, sails harmlessly over the bar.
So it is 0-0. It is 1-0 here to Manchester City, but it's no longer 0-0 at the Emirates. Alistair Bruce Ball.
No, Arsenal 1, West Ham 0. Arsenal deserved the goal for all their possession. Slightly scruffy in a way. Coquelin's floated ball to the right-hand edge of the area, nodded back across goal by Mathieu Debuchy, and then Danny Welbeck jumps for a header, doesn't quite make contact. The ball sort of bounces off his knee, falls at his feet, 4 yards out, and he scrambles it over the line. Messy goal. Arsenal 1, West Ham 0.
It's the competition that Arsenal have never won under Arsene Wenger, the League Cup in any of its various incarnations. Here it is 1-0 to Manchester City between Leicester, who've won it 3 times, and Manchester City, who've won it 4 times. In fact, this was the trophy that was the one that was most recently won by Manchester City under Manuel Pellegrini in his final season. 1-0. Bernardo Silva scoring the opening goal in the 26th minute. It's only a month or so since Manchester City won here in the Premier League. If you remember that match, the early big decision when Kompany might have been sent off for the foul on Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, I do. He should have been red carded for that, John. Yeah. There was no way anybody was catching Jamie Vardy once he'd have evaded that challenge. No way.
But Gabriel Jesus and De Bruyne scored the goals, and it was a comfortable win in the end on the day for Manchester City. One of their very impressive 17 wins out of 18 in the Premier League this season. By the way, I noticed producer George has just pointed out Gary Lineker, who's sort of chipped into the conversation that we were having about the strength of the Leicester City starting lineup for this quarter-final tonight. Here are Leicester playing the ball out to Fuchs on the left-hand side, then infield towards the tall Spaniard Iborra, who controls it. High ball out to the right-hand side to Albrighton. Albrighton swings it in right-footed. Adarabioyo got his head to it, importantly. Fuchs, though, drives it across the penalty area, and it could have gone anywhere off Yaya Toure, and he was fortunate in that his half clearance fell to a teammate who cleared it away.
But again, whenever Leicester City get it up in and around City's last third, put it in the box, you sense something might happen. It just might drop to Okazaki Iheanacho. Somebody else might make that run from the middle of the park. I just think when they labour it too much at the back and across the middle of the park, they just give City that little bit more time to get themselves organised and deal with it. The quicker and the more upbeat they are with their forward play, particularly at the top end of the field, they'll get more from it.
Iborra, another high ball out to the right-hand side. Albrighton pulls it down. Albrighton now has a Marty on the overlap, but he plays the ball into the edge of the area, which is comfortably and easily dealt with by Mangala under no pressure at all. Zinchenko, what composure from him. But then, having taken it away from 2 Leicester players, was wasteful with the pass, Zinchenko. And Leicester have got it back. Yeah, Gary Lineker, whose fondness for Leicester is obviously well known, says ball's missed by Mangala. That was a poor effort from Mangala. Iheanacho is all over him, and Mangala is able to recover and turn and put it out for a throw. Gary Lineker says, don't get why Leicester are playing a second-string team, quarter-final and a chance to win a trophy, 8th in the league, no Europe and no chance of going down.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I find it very surprising, I really do. If you want to give players a night off, and if you really are throwing all your eggs into the Premier League basket, then don't put Vardy, Mahrez and Damari Gray and all those boys on the bench.
Throw in then, and it's hurled into the near post, flicked on by Iborra. Bravo, jumps for it on the goal line and catches it above Okazaki. And Manchester City are quickly on the move again. We are into time added on at the end of the first half. Don't think there'll be too much of it. Foden runs into Maguire. It sort of bounces off him and ends up in a heap on the ground. He's okay though, Foden. And Leicester clear it downfield. Carlisle are now 2-0 up on Gillingham as Mangala was caught by, in fact the offside flag was up against Iheanacho, so it's a free kick to Manchester City. Carlisle winning 2-0 against Gillingham, and Hallam Hope has scored his second goal of the match. So Carlisle in good shape to take their place in the third round of the FA Cup. Tomorrow night, here on 5 Live, commentary on Bristol City against Manchester United, and the other quarter-final, Chelsea against Bournemouth, will be over on 5 Live Sports Extra. Friday night, we have commentary on Arsenal against Liverpool, and then 3 commentaries from the Premier League on Saturday: Everton, Chelsea, Swansea, Crystal Palace, and we'll be back here for Leicester, Manchester United on Saturday evening. But the half-time whistle goes here at the King Power Stadium. Manchester City winning 1-0, and this is what Andy Townsend's made of the first half.
Yeah, I think that the better team are in front, that's for sure. I think when Leicester do apply themselves and do get that ball forward a little bit quicker up to Okazaki and Iheanacho, you sense something might happen, but in the main they've been too deliberate, a little bit too predictable with their play along the back and in the middle of the park, And City have a goals advantage, John, and looking pretty comfortable up to now.
And really the question is, when will Claude Puel use Mahrez and Vardy and Damari correctly?
Well, certainly should be using one of them right now. I think in this tie and the nature of the game, get one of them on now. I would bring Jamie Vardy on now. And again, Jamie Vardy never strikes me as that sort of striker that you're having to nurse through games. The guy, he's just born to run, Jamie Vardy. He's born to play. He wants to get out there and play in every game he possibly can. Yeah. Get him on the field now. He can make the difference.
I know. I'm going to be covering their FA Cup tie at Fleetwood when Leicester go to Fleetwood. Jamie Vardy's old club. I desperately hope that they play Vardy in that tie. But anyway,
I'm sure he'll want to, John.
More on that later. Half-time, Leicester City 0, Manchester City 1, and Mark Pugac is sitting alongside us here, well wrapped up.
Because, Andy, not surprisingly, the Manchester City defence doesn't look completely at ease, does it? Because it's a little bit of a mix and match. So if I were a Leicester fan sitting here, Andy, I'd be really irritated at the moment, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I think with some justification, Mark, I do. I've been disappointed. Not entirely with the nature of the performance, but I just think you invite a performance like this when you leave so many of your key players out, particularly for a club like Leicester City. I know they were poor at the weekend, and I know Claude Puel perhaps thinks he needs to give key players a little bit of a breather. It's a quarter-final of a cup. You know, I don't think Mahrez and Vardy and any of those boys have played in too many cup finals at Wembley, and I think they would love to get their teeth stuck into a game like this tonight.
Absolutely. Let's see what Claude Puel does. Andy Townsend suggesting at least one of the big hitters should come on at half-time, and maybe the other two, I don't know, after an hour or so. Let us see. Let's go to the Emirates, where the home side have got a scruffy lead. Can we call it that, Ali Bruce?
Yeah, spot on, Mark. Arsenal 1, West Ham 0. I mean, just listening to Andy Townsend there talking about the occasion of a League Cup quarter-final, I'd have to say the first half of this game has been really flat and disappointing for a sort of big knockout cup game. Arsenal deserved the lead. They've had more of the ball. Arsene Wenger made 11 changes before the game. David Moyes has made 6, but West Ham have had to soak up a lot of pressure. Before the goal came, though, Arsenal didn't really look like breaking through. Theo Walcott had one diving header, free header from 10 yards out, which he directed well wide. The goal was pretty well worked. Coquelin floated a diagonal ball to the right-hand edge of the penalty area. Mathieu Debuchy, running forward down the right, did exactly the right thing, just lofted a header across goal. Then came the scruffy nature of the goal. Danny Welbeck went for a header with a couple of West Ham defenders. He got a bit lucky, really, didn't get proper contact on the header. The ball bobbled down by his feet, and then 3 yards out, he sort of bundled it over the line, didn't even smash it into the roof of the net, sort of had 2 or 3 stabs at it. So it wasn't his best ever goal. He won't really care. Arsenal lead West Ham 1-0, but it's not been great, Mark.
Kevin Kilban is co-commentating on Sports Extra. Kevin, enlighten and entertain us. What can you say about that 45 minutes?
Well, I echo what Alice is just saying there. It hasn't been a great spectacle, and you know, you've watched Arsenal enough, we've all watched Arsenal enough over the years. When a side defends deep against them, what do? They pass it sideways and backwards. That's the way it has been for a majority of this first half. They had a great chance. Theo Walcott should have hit the target at the very least, I feel, from a great cross from Kolasinac. That almost sprung Arsenal into life, and the goal came only a couple of minutes after that. It's actually Coquelin with a lovely through ball played through to Debuchy, who, just as Alistair was saying, just headed it back. I felt West Ham should have actually dealt with it. They had Collins and Reed in good positions to deal with that ball coming back into the penalty area. But other than that, really, 2 or 3 minute spell, the game has been quite dull. It's been quite lifeless here at the Emirates. There's been no real sort of atmosphere generated, I think, and that's largely been down to what we've seen on the pitch.
Thank you very much indeed for that, Kevin. Kevin's with Conor McNamara if you want commentary on the second half there, and the second half here to come from Leicester with Andy Townsend and John Murray. It's all after the news with Joe Critcher.
More live Premier League football than anyone else. This is BBC 5 Live.
A man who injured 22 people in an acid attack has been jailed for 20 years. Arthur Collins, the former boyfriend of reality TV star Fern McCann, threw the substance in a London nightclub in April. The judge called the crime despicable. 4 men have been arrested by police investigating an alleged terrorist plot which may have been planned for Christmas. Raids were carried out across South Yorkshire and Derbyshire. Our Home Affairs correspondent is Daniel Sanford.
They're being arrested on suspicion of an Islamist plot against the UK. These aren't arrests relating to travel overseas or terrorist fundraising. The allegation is that there was some kind of plot against the UK and that was reasonably imminent. In other words, targeted around the Christmas festive period.
The government says it won't bring in targets for hiring black or ethnic minority judges in England and Wales. The Justice Secretary David Lidington says he will tackle race bias by trying to get more people to become lawyers. The Labour MP David Lammy, who wrote a report on the issue, says he's disappointed by the decision. A bus carrying tourists has overturned in southeastern Mexico, killing 11 people. They were being taken to ancient Mayan ruins. Theresa May and Donald Trump have discussed Brexit and Israel during a phone call. It's the first time they've spoken since a row over the president retweeting videos by a far-right group. Senior executives from Facebook, Twitter and Google have been questioned by MPs about what they're doing to deal with hate crimes and extremist content on their sites. Labour's Yvette Cooper is chair of the Home Affairs Committee.
Especially if you're talking about illegal, banned or extremist content. We're talking about the kind of thing that might be linked to terrorism, for example, and they're not removing it swiftly enough that actually there should be a system of fines in place. And other countries are looking at that as well, because I think there is a responsibility on them.
And a man's been jailed for 3 years for stealing more than 50 mobile phones at a concert and stashing them in a full-length swimsuit. Alan Marin, who's 22, admitted taking the mobiles at a Royal Blood gig in Birmingham last month.
This is BBC 5 Live on digital, online, smartphone and tablet.
Let's take a look at the travel now. In Leicestershire on the M1 southbound, the carriageway is currently closed. That's after an accident involving a lorry where fuel spilled onto the road. That's between junction 22 for Colville and junction 21A for Leicester North. In Kent on the M25 anti-clockwise, traffic is currently stationary at the Dartford Tunnel back to junction 3 on the M20. There are reports of a vehicle fire adding to the delays. Jo Critcher, 5 Live Travel.
Christmas together on BBC One.
Hello? Is someone there? Who is that? I'm the doctor. Oh, I don't think so. No. You may be a doctor, but I am the doctor.
2 doctors.
I don't understand any of this.
Well, of course you understand. I am your future self.
Are you indeed?
1 destiny.
We have a choice. Either we change and go on, or we die as we are.
Doctor Who.
I don't suppose either of you is a doctor.
You're trying to be funny.
Christmas Day at 5:30 on BBC One.
This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Pugach.
So away from the football, the 2013 Wimbledon champion Marion Bartley has announced she's coming out of retirement at the age of 33. She'll make her comeback at the Miami Open in March. England fast bowler Craig Overton's a doubt for the 4th Ashes test in Melbourne on Boxing Day. He's got a rib injury. And the England one-day captain Owen Morgan and England fast bowler Toby Rowland-Jones have both signed contract extensions with Middlesex. England could be without the wing Elliot Daly and back row Nathan Hughes for the start of the Six Nations. Both picked up injuries in Wasps European Champions Cup win at the weekend against La Rochelle. And Gloucester say they unreservedly stand by head coach Johan Ackermann and his son Ruan as police investigate reports the pair were involved in an altercation outside a nightclub in the early hours of Sunday. Well, this week's 5 Live boxing podcast with Costello and Bunce is available to download now from the 5 Live website or wherever you get your podcasts from. The boys pick over Billy Joe Saunders' dominant performance in Canada at the weekend. Anthony Joshua only managing 4th at the Sports Personality of the Year awards ceremony. And they address the state of Tyson Fury's comeback after he was cleared to continue boxing by UK anti-doping last week. Mike Costello has doubts about Fury's current training regime.
Tyson Fury is very keen to post videos up of his training sessions these days, and just from somebody who works in a gym a long time ago, a lot of what he's doing now is the wrong kind of stuff, Steve. And you might think, who am I to say this? But it's just a tutor that I listening and watching for so many years at 23, 24 stone where he is now. This is the wrong time to be doing all this weaving and bobbing. And it's a case of just being absolutely mundane at this stage. Get the weight down, because shifting a 23 stone, 24 stone body around is different to shifting the 17 stone, 5 pound body that was in against Vladimir Klitschko 2 years ago. It's different. So it should be a different kind of training at this stage.
Now, whether that's just for us for clips, so whether he's just doing 30 seconds of punches and moving around like flying all over the place, whether that's just for us, whether those are just the clips we're seeing, I don't think they are. I tend to agree with you. I talked to Ricky Hatton. I was up there doing some filming about 2 weeks ago, and he talked to me a little bit about it. And without me actually asking, he was telling me what Tyson was doing. And it seems to me Tyson's doing the stuff you do in maybe the second or third week of a training camp when you've already come down to within a stone of your fighting weight. He's a long way from that. And I always think back to what Lennox Lewis did when he had his 2.5 fights a year or 3 fights a year. And after he fought, Lennox, as you know, would vanish. You'd see him the next day. He'd drink a couple of bottles of brandy and he would go off into the ether. We wouldn't have no idea where he was until he sat down with us 3 months later at a first press conference to announce a next fight, and he went into a 12-week camp. And he used to go to the Pocono Mountains mostly, which I think are in New Jersey. They might be in Pennsylvania, but they're about an hour's drive from New York. So he used to go to the Poconos. And the first couple of weeks, all he would do was walk, jog and eat. He wouldn't even hit a bag, wouldn't try and skip, wouldn't try and do anything that could put any pressure on his wrists. Because if you've gained 5 stone, Mike, or 5 stone, you think about it, you haven't gained 5 stone stronger wrists. Your ankles aren't 5 stone stronger, your knees aren't 5 stone stronger, and your hips aren't 5 stone stronger. What are you doing running, smashing around on the bag, sparring that fast, hitting the bag like that, doing ridiculous pads? You've got to shift that weight off. And that's what Lennox would do. He'd spend 2 weeks getting his body right. He wouldn't lose that much, but he'd get his body right. And then he'd start training. And even then, he wouldn't do the type of stuff we're seeing Tyson Fury do. It looks showy, it looks silly. What Tyson needs to do is do some 10-mile walks and then do some 5-mile jog walks and leave all that stupid fancy pad work for a couple of months.
In defence, what it might be, Steve, is just to make the training interesting at this stage. And maybe, as you said, these are just the snippets that we see online, and there might be a lot of the mundane work that I refer to going on elsewhere. But just to talk about, the fight that everybody's mentioning now against Anthony Joshua, if they both keep winning. And we're going to talk more about this in our podcast in a couple of weeks' time, Steve, just to let everybody know. The next podcast is going to be a review of 2017. And then on January the 8th, we're going to look ahead to 2018. And we'll be talking Tyson Fury against Anthony Joshua at that stage, Steve. But just briefly, it's not going to happen in 2018.
No, it's not going to happen in 2018. And if it did happen in 2018, it would be a pity. Because I don't think it doesn't need to happen, and it shan't happen. It won't happen. There are 6 fights they can both take to keep bubbling.
That's the latest from the Costello and Bunce podcast. You can download it now, and on Friday their end-of-year awards podcast will be available, picking their favourite fighters, punches, upsets and everything else. Perfect for the long drive to wherever you're going over the Christmas period. Tomorrow night on 5 Live Sport, full commentary from Ashton Gate. Bristol City flying high in the Championship, taking on Manchester United in a Carabao Cup quarter-final. Lee Johnson, the Bristol City manager, has bought a £450 bottle of Portuguese wine to share with Jose Mourinho after the match. So is it fair to say Lee Johnson's looking forward to it?
No, I'm definitely excited, that's for sure. It'd be nice to get as long as I can with him, chatting to him and trying to pick his brain. And
well, let's hope it doesn't kick off in the tunnel, because you might not get much out of it.
I won't have any flour or any milk in my office, that's for sure.
Okay, fine, yeah. But you are, I mean,
I'm looking forward
you'd be a sponge if you could get 10-15 minutes.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, you've got to look at him as probably the best manager in the world currently. His record, you talk about Guardiola and what a fantastic coach, but Jose's right up there, and I've read all his books, I've watched any session that's possible to watch, I've studied his interviews, and it's interesting how he's evolved and where he came from as well. And I think quite a similar type story. I think his father was a manager as well, back in Portugal. He was a player, same sort of levels that I played, and hopefully one day, like I say, I'll be managing at the top level of Bristol City.
That's tomorrow then. Look forward to that. 5 Live Sports, an 8 o'clock kickoff at Ashton Gate tomorrow. Chelsea and Bournemouth as well. Andy Townsend, you've been watching some interesting warming up at half-time, and with all your experience in football, what did that tell you, what you saw out there?
Well, I mean, I was looking at Jamie Vardy and Danny Simpson, and I wondered whereabouts Riyad Mahrez was, and I thought perhaps, as he wasn't out there striking 20-30 yard balls across the field, I wondered if he was inside getting a little bit of detail, ready to make an impact. Doesn't look like that's the case, Mark. And looking at the two teams that have just taken to the field, getting ready for the second half, looks like it's no changes.
But maybe soon. 1-0 Arsenal lead West Ham. It's live on Sports Extra. City 1 up here at Leicester in front of Andy Townsend and John Murray.
Yes, Andy, at the end of the first half, said that he felt the time was right now at half-time to bring on either Mahrez or Damari Gray or Vardy, but no changes from Claude Puel or from Pep Guardiola at half-time. So the second half here in Leicester about to begin with Manchester City 1-0 up, and it is Manchester City in the sky blue shirts, white shorts and sky blue socks who get us underway in this second period. The goal scored by Bernardo Silva in the 26th minute, and Manchester City playing from right to left as we look in the second half, so towards the end where their supporters, 2,000 or 3,000 of them, are in the corner of the stadium. So Leicester with 7 changes from the weekend, Manchester City with 9 changes, and the Leicester team, Hamer in goal, Dragovic and Maguire, Fuchs at left back, Amati at right back, Albrighton, King, Iborra and Chilwell, Okazaki and Iheanacho. Leicester in possession. The ball gets a fortunate ricochet for Leicester to Amati, who plays it back, and King will just roll it back to goalkeeper Hamer, who takes a touch. Gabriel Jesus was closing him down quickly, but he's been able to find Fuchs on the left-hand side. And now Harry Maguire for Leicester City in their home kit, the all blue with the gold and white trim, forward towards Shinji Okazaki, who's not really been able to get into the game, and Leicester back in possession on the halfway line. It's a slip from Dragovic. Oh, very nearly big trouble for Leicester. Dragovic was so close to being dispossessed there, but was just able to recover.
He just took his eye off the ball. As the ball came from his left-hand side, he took his eye off it, it rolled under his foot. Phil Foden was onto it pretty quickly, but Dragovic just about made a big lunging recovery challenge to win it back.
Yeah, Dragovic, who you might not be terribly familiar with, Austrian international, lots of experience, 54 caps, but he's not had much of a look in really for Leicester this season. This only his 3rd appearance, all of them in this competition. And Manchester City's team tonight, Claudio Bravo the goalkeeper, back 4 of Danilo, Adarabioyo, Mangala and Zinchenko, and then Gundogan and captain Touré, and then Bernardo Silva on the right, 17-year-old Phil Foden in the middle, Brahim Diaz on the left, his full Manchester City debut in a competitive match, and Gabriel Jesus up front. No Sergio Aguero for Manchester City tonight, not in the 18. Sterling's not in the 18, neither is Fernandinho, Otamendi and Kevin De Bruyne are also given a well-earned night off tonight, as Yaya Touré was upended on the halfway line by his old teammate Kelechi Iheanacho. Thanks a lot for that, mate. But he's up on his feet and he's okay. Yaya Touré, who 34 years old now. Yaya Touré gets the ball back and then plays it all the way back towards Claudio Bravo. Takes a touch. Iheanacho quickly onto it. Mangala then back towards Claudio Bravo, all in yellow to our right on this dry, cold evening, as Yaya Touré is tripped and he's not very happy. Yaya Touré quickly on his feet, waving his arms at referee Madley.
Yeah.
Double teapot now with his hands on his hips.
He just received the ball there as that deep line midfield player, and very quickly he had Iheanacho, Okazaki, Vincent Iborra as well, all closing him down. He went to ground and got the free kick. He's got to be a little bit careful, Yaya, because again, if he loses possession there, he can't recover. He just doesn't have that burst anymore in his legs to get him back.
Leicester City 0, Manchester City 1. This is 5 Live from the BBC, the Carabao Cup, first night of the quarter-finals. Arsenal are winning 1-0 against David Moyes' West Ham. You can listen to that over on 5 Live Sports Extra. Still Carlisle 2, Gillingham 0 in the FA Cup replay. Here's Harry Maguire stepping forward with the ball as he likes to do. He's was challenged there, and in actual fact Bobby Madley says he was fouled, and it's a free kick to Leicester out on the left-hand side.
Yeah, City players are complaining. They didn't like it. Danilo in particular. Gabriel Jesus is complaining bitterly to referee Bobby Madley, but it did appear that it was a surging run from Harry Maguire. He just might have had his ankles clipped just a little bit.
Yeah, although it's actually a throw in. He's not given that as a foul. But he still spoke to Gabriel Jesus, who was obviously protesting that it should have been a Manchester City throw. That was the point that he was making. Right, long throw then, and it's speared into the 6-yard box, glanced on, headed away by Zinchenko on the edge of his 6-yard box, and Iheanacho is right behind him. So little Zinchenko, the blonde-haired Ukrainian, had to clear it away, but he did. He was perfectly placed.
Yeah, good defending that. That was a really flat, fast, long throw from Christian Fuchs, and he's about to wind another one in right to the corner of that 6-yard box.
Yes, he is. The crowd is now just beginning to get going in the second half. 5 minutes played. It's been a quite slow tempo start to the second period, but winding it up now. And here's that throw, takes a glance, cleared away by Mangala, and it's headed back in by a diving Chilwell, but over the top of the bar by a couple of feet at least. And Chilwell, who's flat on his face in the penalty area, looks as though he's taking a bang as he was heading it.
Yeah, from Gabriel Jesus. He certainly does. Flush in the face.
In the penalty area.
In the penalty area, yeah. That was the header out. We're just seeing another replay of that from Zinchenko. Again, from that Christian Fuchs throw-in. Harry Maguire made first contact. And if you don't make first contact with any of those set plays, you can be in trouble. But good defending from the young Ukrainian.
Chilwell sort of flung himself forward, what about chest height? And Gabriel Jesus clearing it away, trying to hook it away. Missed the ball, kicked Chilwell in the face.
Yeah, no claim at all, no complaints from any of the Leicester players looking for a penalty or anything like that at all.
So Leicester City 0, Manchester City 1. Chilwell still receiving some treatment. Looks as though he's got a nosebleed. Producer George has spotted that, eagle-eyed style. And yeah, we're just saying now that he's having a swab pushed up his nose. So while he receives some treatment, I can tell you that Gillingham have got a goal back. Scott Wagstaff at Brunton Park. Carlisle leading Gillingham by 2-1 in the cup replay. And in the other quarter-final, second half will be underway with you, Alistair Bruce Ball.
Yeah, late start to the second half, John. Arsenal leading West Ham 1-0. Danny Welbeck scored just before half-time. Arsenal have a corner as I'm talking. El Nenny's curling it into the penalty area, and it's cleared Olivier Giroud. The reason we started a few minutes late in the second half is that one of the assistant referees hurt his back in the first half, so Stuart Burt has had to go off injured. Chris Kavanagh, who was fourth official, is now running the line, and luckily Arsenal managed to find a qualified official in the director's box who's come down to be the fourth official. But I hope he hasn't overindulged on his evening so far in the corporate hospitality. Otherwise, it might be the two managers getting an earful rather than the other way round. Arsenal lead West Ham 1-0.
Yeah, was it Christmas dinner tonight?
It was. The Emirates? It was indeed.
I thought it might have been. Well done.
2 helpings.
You've chosen well with Arsenal on the Tuesday before Christmas. Okazaki, Chilwell's off the field at the moment, and he's just trotted back on. Actually, I can just see him feeling his nasal area.
Yeah, it's interesting, that one. You're right, John. I know you sort of questioned the challenge there in the box. Well, is that not a penalty? And they're very rarely given anything like that, but you're absolutely right. The player heads it, and there's another player challenging with his foot very high and catching him straight in the face.
Yeah, poor pass from Maguire. You know, that was unlike Harry Maguire there. Again, encouraged clearly by Claude Puel to bring the ball forward, because he's done it twice now in the second half, but got the pass all wrong. So Manchester City playing from right to left as we look. Gundogan, who set up the goal, playing it through to Gabriel Jesus. Hamer is out there. The goalkeeper's got it. I think he was caught by Jesus, who was sliding in. Defender Dragovic was there as well, and now Hamer's come off worst and has taken a knock, I think, on his knee.
Yeah, it was a clever ball actually from Gundogan. Lovely little 1-2 with Jesus, and in the end Jesus can't really get there, and he sort of lunges in a little bit, and that's what Dragovic, I think, feels a little bit hard about. That's a poor challenge in the end from Jesus. He clatters into Ben Hamer. He's never really getting the ball. The ball's already safely into the goalkeeper's hands.
Yeah,
he goes flying in there.
Hamer as well actually came out rather awkwardly, didn't he? He sort of splayed his leg that was bent over itself, and then Jesus, with his studs facing, has caught him on the lower leg, which was doubled underneath him. And we'll have to see if he's able to continue. Kasper Schmeichel's not in the 18 tonight, so Eldin Jakupovic, who you'll remember was at Hull City last season and joined Leicester after relegation, and it looks as though Riyad Mahrez is getting himself ready, so that's created a flurry of excitement among the Clappers.
Yeah, and I think that's a good decision as well. The game, because of this stoppage and the way that the game has started in the second 45, has not really got going, so I think energise everybody in the stadium. Start bringing some of those senior first team players on. Riyad Mahrez, get him involved as soon as you can.
That's Andy Townsend with us here on BBC 5 live from Leicester. Andy won the League Cup twice. I think you played in the final for Middlesbrough as well.
I did. I lost that one. Yes, I did, against my old club Chelsea. Yeah.
And but to win a trophy as a captain,
yeah, lovely.
That must be right up there in terms of your career highlights.
Fantastic experience, John. Which is why, again, you know, when you come here this evening and with respects to the Leicester starting boys, you just wonder why a manager would desperately want to do that.
Here's Shinji Okazaki on the left hand side, and Fuchs joins in the attack, and then gets the pass all wrong back to Okazaki, and we're going to have a double change. It's going to be the two of them, Mahrez and Vardy, with just over 10 minutes played in the second half, and that's lifted the place.
Yeah, certainly has. Everybody applauds that decision.
So Jamie Vardy, who remember scored a hat-trick against Manchester City in the Premier League here last season in that terrific performance. That was one of the real highlights of what obviously was a difficult season for Leicester City last season, and it's Iheanacho who makes way, not able to score against his former club, and Mark Albrighton is also replaced, so on comes the two of them, the two main men.
Vardy, of course, pushed straight up front. Riyad Mahrez on the right hand side, Ben Chilwell still out there on the left. That's better, that's positive, and that sends a message out now that to both teams, to the home team to get it forward and get those two involved as quick as they can, and to the City team that unless they're at their most concentrated, fully focused, they could get punished.
But Leicester don't want to concede a goal now to go 2-0 down, having just brought them on, and Manchester City are in possession. Gabriel Jesus has been booed by one or two for that challenge on Ben Hamer, who I'm pleased to say is okay, by the way. The Leicester goalkeeper is able to continue, and Leicester now have been given new energy, and Jamie Vardy very nearly nipped it away from goalkeeper Bravo in the penalty area, and Manchester City scrambling to get it away, and then Dragovic was fouled by Brahim Diaz, and it's a free kick to Leicester on the halfway line, and the mood has been transformed.
Certainly has. That was typical Claudio Bravo. The ball's come back to him. He's under pressure from Jamie Vardy, but instead of hitting it first time, he puts his foot on it. He teases Vardy just a little bit closer before he ends up giving it to Mangala.
And now Brahim Diaz fouls a Marty, so that's a couple of little fouls in a short period of time. Little fouls from the little man from Spain. Long and forward from Dragovic, looking for Vardy, headed away by Adarabioyo, and now cleared away, just whipped out of play by Eliakim Mangala. I'm not sure that's the sort of thing that Pep Guardiola likes.
He's an extremely powerful defender, Mangala, but he's clumsy with the ball at his feet. He makes poor decisions when he's in possession of the ball.
And Andy, those two phrases don't go together, do they? Ball forward for Mahrez now, but Claudio Bravo very quickly out, quick steps out of his penalty area into the full-back position to clear it out for a throw to Leicester down the right, who've got a little bit of wind in their sails here, the home team.
And just by turning their opponent round, just by clipping it in behind them, getting Vardy, Mahrez running after it, just everybody, you can hear them now, the crowd now feel that their team are getting back into this tie.
Riyad Mahrez just taking up a position on the dead ball line. In fact, Amati is going to take the throw, loopy in towards the near post, headed away, and then cleared across his penalty area by Danilo. And now Mahrez, who is extremely distinctive, if you haven't seen him lately, with his blonde rinse, short sleeves, black gloves. And here he is, Mahrez, just trying to lay it off to Amati, but Diaz did well. And now they break away. Diaz over the halfway line. Foden is there in support. Diaz is challenged, the ball runs away. Oh, and he was caught, Foden, on the halfway line. Just keep an eye on him. But Diaz just outside the area. Maguire steps in and wins the ball back from the Spaniard. And Maguire's ball downfield to Vardy to chase. But Claudio Bravo read that, the goalkeeper, quickly out of his penalty area. He's way out of his penalty area. Had a Rabiot on the edge of his own box. Plays it across to Mangala. And now Claudio Bravo is back in position inside his 6-yard box and is there to pass it out to Danilo on the right-hand side. How very Guardiola Manchester City that period of play was. And now Bernardo Silva is away from Fuchs into the penalty area. Bernardo Silva still going, flips it across to no one. Runs right across the penalty area and Leicester will run it away.
What's a chance? And that was another classic example of the way City play. The ball went all the way back to Bravo and eventually they're up there and Bernardo Silva nearly applying the finishing touch.
Gundogan now just outside the D, plays it through. Dragovic in with a challenge and referee Madley says that's a dive.
Yeah.
And he's booked him for simulation, Gundogan.
Yep. Gundogan skipped past the first challenge and then when Harry Maguire comes in, it's actually Dragovic. There was a little bit of contact there, but you know what, I think the ball had got away from him, John. I think the ball had gone some 5 or 6 yards beyond him. When he hit the floor, it looked like a dive. Again, but that clever bit of play from City moments ago where they 2 or 3 passes, then this time they go over the top of the press with a long 40-50 yard ball down the line to Bernardo Silva, and he could have done better, and that could have been game, set and match.
A little bit like Manuel Lanzini on Saturday. He was already throwing himself down before the challenge came in.
Yeah.
From Dragovic. Oh, Mangala has caught Okazaki there, and Okazaki has gone to ground. There's a furious response from 1 or 2 of the Leicester players. Okazaki's been caught on the side of the head, and you can hear the home supporters are chanting off, off. Depends what Bobby Madley is going to do.
Just whether he leant with his arm. Certainly looked like he went with his head, but it's just whether his forearm was there and caught Okazaki in the face. Yaya Toure is protestating to the referee, saying that it was all Mangala's head and that he was entitled to go for it.
Okazaki's okay. Christian Fuchs is shoving away the Japanese, doesn't want him to get involved. And now Bobby Madley, who has given himself time to think about this, the referee. It's all settled down now. It's going to be a free kick to Leicester. He is speaking with Mangala. They're still talking.
He's saying it's a foul.
Sends him away.
He's just repeating, it's a foul, it's a foul. And I think what he's saying is only a foul, don't panic, listen to me, but watch. It's just, does Mangala, yeah. I mean, Mangala clearly is miles above little Okazaki when challenging for the ball in the air, and he clearly heads it. It's just his arm clatters into Okazaki. I don't think deliberately, John.
No,
I really don't.
And it's actually the contact's been made by not his elbow. It's the correct. Sort of flesh of the arm.
The bicep almost. Yeah.
Yeah, and therefore Okazaki, maybe be a little dazed, but no more than that, and he's okay. And referee Madley, well, I think right decision.
Right decision. He just let everybody. There was always going to be a bit of temper there and a bit of frustration. He just let that simmer down and then just efficiently dealt with it.
Free kick, though, in a good position. And Harry Maguire is there. Mahrez, though, obviously. Mahrez runs over it, gets a touch. Maguire shoots, but into the wall, which had broken. Mangala blocked it. And then Chilwell, trying to weave his way into the area, just ran into Bernardo Silva, who, I should say, a few minutes ago, Bernardo Silva had a glorious opportunity to make it 2-0. I thought at one stage he was going to run the ball almost straight into the net. Here is Chilwell on the edge of the area, challenged by Gundogan, and Manchester City have got the ball back in their own defensive third. So, 5 Live, BBC 5 Live, the Carabao Cup, first 2 quarter-finals tonight. Manchester City are winning 1-0. Manchester City, who are pursuing this dream scenario of trying to win all of the competitions they're in this season, and a dream scenario surely that would be, but they are winning 1-0, on course for the 2-leg semi-finals. Whereas at the Emirates, Alistair Bruce Ball.
Just into the last half hour, Arsenal 1, West Ham 0. David Moyes and Stuart Pearce have been deep in discussion about how to try and get West Ham back into this game. They've offered very little so far. Andy Carroll is getting stripped off, so that's going to give the Arsenal defenders something different to think about. Arsenal leading West Ham 1-0.
And the lines are now open for the 5 Live Football Social as Danilo, poor touch, bounces out of play for a throw into Leicester. So get in touch. Mark Fugach is here with us at the King Power Stadium. 08085 909 693 to talk to Andy Townsend until 10:30 this evening. Get in touch at 5 Live Sport. Text 85058. And of course on a League Cup night, really interesting to hear what you feel about the strength of the teams that have been put out this evening. Should Leicester have picked the stronger team? Vardy and Mahrez and Gray in the starting lineup. Tell us what you think, as King is adjudged to have bundled over Gundogan, and it's a free kick to Leicester in the centre, to Manchester City in the centre circle.
Yeah, that's the correct decision from the referee. Ball was just in the loose. Gundogan chests it away.
And what sort of team would you like to see the sides putting out tomorrow night? What sort of team should Jose Mourinho play at Ashton Gate? That's our commentary match tomorrow night. Alistair Bruce Ball and David Pleat will bring you Bristol City against Manchester United. 5 Live Sports Extra, you'll be able to hear Chelsea against Bournemouth. Chris Wise and Mark Schwarzer will bring you commentary on that one. Manchester City playing it away down the right-hand side, but across comes Maguire. And now Andy King, quietly efficient, as he has been for years and years. Andy King for Leicester City. Maguire playing it up towards Okazaki, does well, plays it infield, and now the ball is played through for Vardy, but it was overhit by Chilwell, and Claudio Bravo is easily able to control and pick it up.
What's a chance? He did well, Ben Chilwell, to avoid a couple of challenges, and then all he had to do was roll it 20-25 yards for Jamie Vardy, who was right on the shoulder of Mangala. If he'd have just played the correct ball there, Ben Chilwell, then Vardy would have been in and bearing down on Claudio Bravo pretty quickly.
Ben Chilwell, who turns 21 this week. 21, Andy.
Yes.
Those were the days. Manchester City with Mangala at the back. He points downfield and then hits a pass that is laid off by Diaz. Here's Phil Foden. Not seen so much of the teenage talents of Manchester City in this second half. Phil Foden starting for City for only the second time, and then Mahrez puts in a challenge on Foden and it's out of play for a throw. Pep Guardiola's suddenly 2 or 3 steps outside of his coaching area, all in black tonight. He's got that huge black scarf wrapped around his neck, the black hoodie, and Manchester City, his team, are in possession halfway inside their own half. Shoveled forward by Danilo, but will just bounce down into the out of play for Fuchs to take the throw. 1-0 Manchester City.
Interesting watching Guardiola just there, John. He's just talking to Zinchenko, and we know that he'll be full of words of encouragement, and he's always supportive of his players. But you know what, in the heat of the battle, when it's out there, doesn't matter whether you're a player making your debut or whether you're a senior player with hundreds of games under your belt. If the manager doesn't like something, you get told pretty quickly.
1-0 Manchester City lead. So in shape here to reach the semi-finals of this competition, as Adarabioyo plays the ball away between 2 Leicester City players. They're at home in the FA Cup third round to Burnley. Certainly got a favourable draw in the Champions League against Basel. And here they are now with the ball on the right-hand side as the challenge is in on Gabriel Jesus, and it's deflected out of play for a Manchester City throw on the right-hand side. What of the prospect of them winning everything, Andy, this season?
Well, it's certainly doable. The quality they have, injuries of course will be key, but I think it's doable. I really do. I don't see a better team in Europe at the moment than City, when they're all playing, of course, when all their major boys are out there.
Yes, the John Stones, I think they've missed John Stones, and no David Silva obviously tonight, but some of the talent that isn't involved this evening. Here is Diaz, who couldn't keep the bouncing ball in on the left wing, so it's a throw into Leicester halfway inside their own half. So can they do it? That might be another conversation point for later in the evening on the 5 Live Football Social. And Damari Gray is now being prepared as well. So get in touch, 08085 909 693, or on social media at 5 Live Sport. 1-0 to Manchester City. Bernardo Silva, his goal, the only one we've seen so far this evening, but Iborra is caught in possession, and the bearded Silva now to Foden, and then the ball played infield towards Zinchenko. Manchester City halfway inside the Leicester half. They haven't, it feels, quite so dominated possession in the second half, and then Mangala's passed it straight out of play.
Yeah. Right in front of the manager as well. Seen a few times, I've seen whenever Mangala's scooped it up the line or it's gone out for a throw-in, you see his manager's frustration. He turns his head and looks upwards a little bit.
Here's Iborra. Now to Mahrez, central position. Mahrez checks inside Bernardo Silva. The space on the left-hand side for Christian Fuchs. And the experienced Austrian now crossing from the left towards Vardy, and Chilwell in there. And it actually came off Adarabioyo in the end. The two of them were there, Mangala and Adarabioyo, and it's behind for a corner to Leicester.
Yep, dealt with that well in the end. Mangala it was who got his head to it and powered it away, but behind for a corner.
I thought you were saying I dealt with Adarabioyo's name well in the end there. Corner from the left-hand side. Fuchs to take it. Flights it high towards the back post. Iborra is there, so is Maguire. Just a little high for Maguire, and off his head and out of play for a throw into Manchester City around their own left-back area.
Yeah, Christian Fuchs decided to just clip that one in. I thought he'd be better off wrapping his foot around it and really going for a bit of pace on it.
Right, we're going to see Tamari Gray now. He'll come onto the field replacing Chilwell. While Leicester do that, let's get another update from the Arsenal-West Ham tie.
Just over 20 minutes to play. Arsenal still lead 1-0. Aaron Cresswell's whipped a free kick just wide for West Ham. That's been their best chance of the night. Andy Carroll has come on and made an instant impact. Francis Coquelin within seconds, writhing around on the ground injured. It was actually quite innocuous from Carroll. High ball went up. He didn't jump. He just gave Coquelin a nudge as he jumped, which caused him to lose his balance and topple to the ground. Carroll shrugged and walked off. Arsenal 1, West Ham 0.
Alistair Bruce Ball at the Emirates. You can hear Conor McNamara and Kevin Kilban if you listen to 5 Live Sports Extra, the commentary from the Emirates on your digital radio via the BBC iPlayer radio as well. And remember, you can listen to our commentary via the BBC Sport app as well, where you can see the live pages, the live text commentary. And Bernardo Silva draws a foul. Manchester City with a free kick in the Leicester left back area. I'm told that on there listeners can see a picture of Andy Townsend's pie on the live page. Now, if that's not an incentive,
what's left of it, you should have said, John.
That's what social media is for.
Of course.
Pictures of pies. Pie emoji. I don't think there is a pie emoji, strangely. I was looking for one the other week. Can't remember why. Ian Dennis might have been involved. Manchester City with a free kick on the right-hand side. 1-0 Manchester City lead. Mangala and Adarabioyo are shoulder to shoulder just beyond the penalty spot. Little Brahim Diaz is in there, Touré as well. And here's the delivery now to the near post. Glanced by Gabriel Jesus right across the 6-yard box, where it eventually, near the corner flag, rolls out of play.
Yep. Fast ball in from Gundogan. Gabriel Jesus, it was who made first contact. He's just drifted into that corner of the 6-yard box area, got a little glance on it, scoots along the 6-yard box and out the other side.
Gabriel Jesus, you know, he's not scored in his last 8 appearances, just quietly, while the others have all been scoring.
Yeah,
just on a little dry spell, and just he's not quite, is he?
No,
he's vibrant.
No, he's not. You're right, John. He isn't actually. He's just having one of those little spells, but he's working hard. He's certainly working very hard.
No Sergio Aguero involved this evening. There seems to be a little bit of noise going on about Sergio Aguero, I notice, in various media channels about...
it wouldn't be the biggest shock to me, John,
if he was sold.
If he was gone. If he was gone, yeah. It wouldn't.
As Brahim Diaz fouls Amartey, free kick to Leicester, 10 yards inside their own half. And also, you know, they were, Manchester City, interested in Alexis Sanchez.
Correct. If they did that one, I could see it happening. Yeah, I could. Be interesting where Sergio Aguero would go.
Well, the talk seems to be back to Spain, possibly even Real Madrid.
Real Madrid
seems to be talk. We'll see. Might be busy in January. Ball played back to Hamer. Manchester City still leading by 1-0. Still just the 1 goal in the Arsenal-West Ham tie as well. Arsenal winning 1-0. Hear that 5 Live Sports Extra, so they're both finally poised. We might have extra time yet in one or both, or neither. Ball is headed away by Adarabioyo. the 20-year-old academy product. Here he is again, tall, long-legged, and he's got a graceful sort of movement. Adarabioyo on the ball now, playing it out to the right-hand side where Danilo hits a long pass towards Gabriel Jesus, but Harry Maguire deals with him and then pings a pass back to Ben Hamer, which created a little flurry.
Just a little tester, keep him on his toes.
Yes. And Hamer, who took that nasty bang on the leg. I see he's growing a beard again, Ben Hamer. Do you remember the long beard that he had?
Actually, yeah.
It was an extraordinary piece of facial hair, wasn't it, that one? 1-0 Manchester City. And Mangala, it's just gone a little bit scrappy, hasn't it? We haven't said that too often about Manchester City's matches this season.
No. Of course, they don't have as much control, should I say, as perhaps they usually would. When you've got Silva, De Bruyne, Fernandinho, those three in the middle of the park, they're so good at keeping it and finding the right time to just slow the game down and then speed it up with a pinpoint pass. They don't have that at their disposal this evening, so there's an opportunity for Leicester, but at the moment they can't quite find their rhythm.
Here's Mahrez. What is he going to be able to do? But he's not able to do anything against the 21-year-old Zinchenko, who watched him very closely, put the tackle in, took the ball away. So Leicester now, Claude Puel has made his full range of changes, all three of them. Mahrez, Vardy, and now Damari Gray, who's over on the left-hand side, all on the field. Damari Gray, who at times, when I've seen him this season, has looked terrific.
Excellent. So dangerous, John, I agree. He's ready to play now, isn't he? He's had to wait a while here at Leicester until he's been given an opportunity. Puel's certainly done that.
So it's not entirely impossible that he might get a chance with England before the World Cup. I'm wondering as well, depending on injuries, etc. But here is Bernardo Silva, middle of the Leicester half. Damari Gray has gone with him. Little ball towards Brahim Diaz. Oh, lovely reverse pass. Bernardo Silva with a cross, hits Maguire, bounces across the box, and then there's an offside flag up against Bernardo Silva, so it's a free kick to Leicester. Manchester City still leading 1-0. We're into the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, excellent play from Bernardo Silva. Drifted from the right-hand side of the field all the way across to the left side. Ended up running round Diaz and firing it across the 6-yard box, but when it came back to him, the flag went up. Actually, he looked level.
Still Carlisle 2, Gillingham 1 in the FA Cup second round replay. Lines open for the 5 Live Football Social, 08085 909 693. Mangala's taken a bang in the face after an aerial challenge with Okazaki, and there's a cut there clearly. Or is he? I think he's maybe done his lip. Yeah, he split his lip, possibly on the back of Okazaki's head.
Might well have broken his nose as well here, John, while he's holding his nose.
But it's
Bang.
actually Vardy.
Yeah,
it's Vardy's head.
Come flying in from a distance away. Mangala clattered his face right into the back of Jamie Vardy's head. And
yeah, so we're going to have another stoppage here while Mangala is treated, and a number of the players are coming across for the water bottles, even on a cold night. Still Leicester 0, Manchester City 1, with the various stoppages. You know, we could have 6-7 minutes of added time at the end of the 90 minutes, and it is still only 1-0 here. What about in North London with you, Alistair Bruce Ball?
We are just into the last 15 minutes, a little bit behind you in the second half. Olivier Giroud's hamstring has just gone. Arsenal on the counter-attack. Giroud was sprinting away down the middle of the field. He is now flat on his back in some pain, so Arsenal look like they might lose him for a little bit. And a nervy moment for Joe Hart here as well. Danny Welbeck came racing through. Hart started a sliding challenge inside his penalty area. His momentum, luckily for him, just took him outside the box. He caught Welbeck. Welbeck was going round him. He got the yellow card. Arsenal couldn't do anything with the free kick. Arsenal 1, West Ham 0.
So it could be Christmas and New Year out of action for Olivier Giroud, as there's the spectator tried to get onto the field, but well done the stewards. He's got one stride onto the pitch. He looks quite angry actually, and he's gesticulating at Pep Guardiola, and now he's being hauled away. That was strange, and he's been marched away now out of sight down the tunnel.
Good work from the stewards.
Very good work. Yeah. Excellent work from the Leicester City stewards. He wasn't able to get, just a few strides over the advertising hoardings. They had their wits about them there, so well done to them. Leicester 0, Manchester City 1.
Looks like Kyle Walker, John, is coming on.
And that's going to be City's first change, Andy.
Yeah. Mangala still receiving treatment right in front of him. He's having to change his shirt because there's blood splattered.
So City are playing with 10 men at the moment, Manchester City. One of the central defenders is off the field, Mangala. And Leicester City have an opportunity here if they're able to take it. Amati plays it to Maguire. Touch from Maguire, which has carried it out wide. Looks like Yaya Touré's dropped into central defence with Mangala off the field getting repaired. And Kyle Walker is going to come on the next time the ball goes out of play. But Leicester City against the 10 men of Manchester City have a chance here if they're able to use it. Mahrez now on the right hand side. Zinchenko very quickly closes him down, gets a touch in, but Mahrez is still going, plays it in. Vardy with a glancing header, just sort of let it land almost on the top of his head, but it bounced wide by a yard.
Yeah, unlucky. Good skill and strength from Riyad Mahrez. Eventually delivers across. Jamie Vardy's 10 yards out at least, trying to get a glancing header on that. It's always going to be difficult to go past Bravo, but yep, Kyle Walker on. I think Danilo will probably just step inside and get in there alongside Adarabioyo.
Yeah, it's that change that you were suggesting actually, and he's had to make it.
Yeah,
because of the injury to Mangala, who looks to have certainly split open his nose and a lip with by hitting the back of Jamie Vardy's head. Here is Vardy now to Mahrez, little bit of space, Mahrez into the penalty area, beats Zinchenko, shoots across goal, and Bravo makes the save. Got down really well there. Brilliant from Mahrez, that was terrific.
Yeah, classic wing play from Riyad Mahrez. The ball sped out to him nice and early from Jamie Vardy's one-on-one with Zinchenko in the box, throws that step over in, whips it with his right foot, and let's give the goalkeeper a lot of credit, because he's got Vardy and Okazaki all bearing down on him, and he grabs it and just manages to hang on to it.
Well, to paraphrase Dean Saunders from Euro 2016, he sent Zinchenko for one of those steak and kidney pies there, didn't he?
He certainly did.
Not a crepe Suzette. But brilliant from Mahrez.
Well, it's good play, great skill.
A youngster who playing at left back, he's a midfielder.
Yeah.
And goodness, he's got a challenge on his hands here against Riyad Mahrez. Ball played back. It's going to be very interesting last few minutes here. 7 minutes to play, but lots of added time to be added on. Here's Foden. Foden now to Diaz. Diaz slips the ball through to Jesus, who is offside. Shoots goalwards. I've seen players yellow carded for that before.
Has he been carded yet, John?
No.
He hasn't yet, no.
Gabriel Jesus. I remember seeing Robin van Persie sent off in the new camp for doing that second yellow card. You might have been there that night, Andy.
Could well have been.
Leicester 0, Manchester City 1. Still Arsenal winning 1-0 against West Ham. Here's Mahrez again on the right-hand side. All roads lead to Mahrez for Leicester. Mahrez then hits the pass out towards the far side, the Leicester left. Andy King groans because King's gone back to Maguire. Now Damari Gray, 4 Manchester City players around him. Leicester City are interested here. Fuchs plays it across, cleared away on the edge of the 6-yard box by emergency central defender Danilo. Then up towards Maguire, who is picked up for a foul on Gabriel Jesus as the two of them challenged for the aerial ball. Free kick Manchester City.
Yeah, just relieves all the pressure. Harry Maguire's just intent to try and keep City in their own half. Seriously tight to Gabriel Jesus as the ball's clipped into him, and he's just adjudged to have wrestled him out the way. The City striker hit the floor, and Harry Maguire fell all too easily, but that's all it takes to just alleviate the pressure on that City back four.
Leicester City 0, Manchester City 1. 08085 909 693 for the 5 Live Football Social. So Leicester City fans, do you agree with Andy Townsend, Gary Lineker as well, about the Leicester line-up, the selection this evening? Wasted opportunity, I think you said, Andy. It was definitely potentially for Leicester.
And in the end, we've seen Vardy come on after an hour, so he's going to end up having played 30 minutes anyway. He'd rather have started. If you'd have asked the player, I'll bring you on for 30 minutes at the end of the game, or do you want to start? The player, I know, would have said, get me out there from the off, boss. I want to start this game.
Yeah, sure, they'll be starting on Saturday night. 7:45 Saturday night is Leicester's next game. It's 5 Live commentary against Manchester United. Here are Leicester in this Carabao Cup quarter-final, playing it towards Vardy, but it bounces off him. Zinchenko has to make ground, turns it back to Claudio Bravo, who puts his foot through it and clears it away downfield. Long downfield for Gray, who's under pressure from Gabriel Jesus, and that pressure has led to the mistake by Amati, who rather almost looked like he panicked and hit it straight out of play for a corner.
Do you know what a brilliant clearance that was from the goalkeeper, Claudio Bravo. It was laid back to him and he drilled it up the line with a bit of fade on it, so as it stayed in play deliberately, and then Jesus is able to pressure Amati, who he's looking for Ben Hamer, and unfortunately knocks it out for a corner to Manchester City.
Another great Manchester City goalkeeping pass. That was extraordinary, that statistic from the weekend, wasn't it, about Ederson's passing. Here is Foden, brilliant from Foden, beats Okazaki, plays it into the near post, half cleared away by Dragovic, played back in by Gundogan, and then headed away again, this time by Iborra for Leicester. Manchester City are searching for the second goal that would send them through into the semi-finals. They're winning 1-0. And Leicester defending for the time being. Gundogan receives it from Zinchenko, and now Gundogan to the edge of the penalty area. Bernardo Silva into the near post, where Harry Maguire puts in a really good challenge.
Yeah, really good challenge, important one as well. Corner's been given. Harry Maguire thinks actually the last touch might have come off of Phil Foden,
who has been clattered by Harry Maguire in making that clearance. And as we've suggested, I mean, Harry Maguire must be getting on for being twice as heavy as Phil Foden.
He's just rolled his ankle there a little bit, John, you know, in that challenge. It's just gone underneath him a little bit, and there's a bit of concern for young Phil Foden here. All the medical staff are on the field.
We'll watch that while Alistair Bruce Ball updates us from the Emirates Stadium.
Into the last 10 minutes, Arsenal lead West Ham 1-0. 18-year-old Joe Willock's just had a standing ovation from the Arsenal fans. Done well tonight, actually, in Arsenal's 4-3-3 in midfield. Leading 1-0 through the Danny Welbeck goal. David Moyes has brought Marko Arnautovic on for a final fling. But West Ham yet to have a shot on target. Going out with a whimper here at the moment. Arsenal 1, West Ham 0.
Phil Foden is off the field. He is hobbling a little, but he's being led around towards the halfway line, and then Bernardo Silva twists himself into trouble near the corner flag. One step over too many, then deflected it straight out of play for a throw-in to Leicester. Home supporters enjoyed that. So we are about to see another change for Manchester City, and it is a debut for Manchester City's number 43, Lucas Nmecha, who is 19 years old. He was 19 last week, actually. He's a winger. He's German-born from Hamburg, but he qualifies to play for England because he's in the academy style, been here for such a long time. His family moved with him as a youngster when he joined the Manchester City academy, and he actually went to primary school in Wythenshawe. So it's a debut for the number 43, Lucas Nmecha.
Yep, looking forward to see what he can do in what's left of the game. What's interesting is actually Diaz came off there with Phil Foden's actually limping, still running quite gingerly on that sore ankle that he just rolled, I mentioned moments ago. So, but he didn't want to come off, and I think the staff were quick to shout to him, "Are you okay to continue?" And I think he gave him the thumbs up. We'll see.
Yeah, so Diaz off and Nmecha on. Leicester 0, Manchester City 1. We are in the 89th minute, but there will be 6-7 minutes of added time at least. Foden is back on the field after just rolling his ankle. Mahrez to Amati. Foden tried to stay on his feet, ended up on his backside.
Still limping, John.
He is, yeah. You know, he's not happy.
Quite badly.
He's not comfortable.
Look, and Pep Guardiola wants to make another change.
Yes, so we will see another change very shortly, but Manchester City defending. Danilo put under pressure by Okazaki, played away towards Gundogan, and now the clearance from Toure into the centre circle. They've given it to Foden, who can hardly move. Foden, though, hits a pass that is just overhead and bounces through to Hamer. And we're going to see another Manchester City debutant, the number 72, Tom Deli Bashiru, who is an 18-year-old, another academy product, is going to come on once the ball is out of play. 90 minutes are almost up. The ball falls to Gray. Gray pulls it across. Vardy in the middle, couldn't get a touch on it, and it runs across the penalty area. And Manchester City are able to clear. So close for Vardy.
Lovely football. Great one-touch ball from Riyad Mahrez to release Damari Gray, who flashes it across that 6-yard box. And Vardy is so close to applying that all-important touch.
That might be the chance. They might not get a better chance than that to equalise.
Really good football, that.
And now the final Manchester City change. So Pep Guardiola, what a great moment in a young man's career this. Tom Deli Bashiru. Pep Guardiola comes across. He's got number 72 on his back. The great Pep Guardiola gives him a rub on the back of the head, slaps him on the back and says, on you go for your Manchester City debut. Good luck.
Yeah. Just a shame to see Phil Foden just limping off a little bit, but Guardiola again quick to praise young Foden for his performance and what he's done.
8 minutes of added time. That's caused some mirth among and Guardiola. It doesn't cause mirth for the Manchester City manager, who I think it's fair to say, Andy, disputes that.
He does. He's actually, look at him, he's funny.
Come on, Leicester, shout the crowd. 8 minutes of added time, 1-0 Manchester City lead. It is still 1-0 to Arsenal at the Emirates as Claudio Bravo is put under pressure by Jamie Vardy and supposed to slice it out of play for a throw. Mahrez is going to take this throw straight at Zinchenko, who deflects it out of play. And Andy King recovers the ball from the advertising hoardings.
Christian Fuchs is making that run from the left-back position all the way over to the right-hand side. He's about 10 yards from the byline. He's going to throw this in with some pace on it and expect Harry Maguire and Iborra to go flying in after it.
Here we go. A goal from Leicester now, and it'll almost certainly be extra time. Fuchs, up he comes. Spears in the throw to the 6-yard box. Well done, Adarabioyo. Got up high and headed it away and amongst all of those blue Leicester shirts. And Manchester City to the goal scorer, Bernardo Silva, who hits the ball downfield, but that's easily dealt with by Dragovic under no pressure. Dragovic back towards Hema. We've already had nearly 2 minutes of the 8 of added time. Long and downfield. Claude Puel is there on the edge of the coaching area, claiming a foul on Harry Maguire, and it's given. Maguire, who's been sent forward for the final moments.
Yep, another chance now. Slightly more central than Riyad Mahrez would have liked, but he's about 35-40 yards out. He's got a chance to clip this in towards the penalty spot and get, again, those guys running in after it.
With a slight angle from the right, Mahrez clips it, just as Andy Townsend said. Played into the back post, Maguire got his head to it, but in amongst two Manchester City defenders could only head it rather lamely wide, actually, of the post.
Yeah, wasn't the best delivery. Clipped up in the air and allowed actually Lucas Lemaitre to get front screening Harry Maguire, just does enough to put him off.
Leicester 0, Manchester City 1. The City fans, the Manchester City fans, strike up a chorus of Blue Moon. They feel that they are getting closer by the second to the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. Two-leg semi-finals. You'll hear them both on 5 Live next month. But Bernardo Silva now, lovely from Bernardo Silva, beats Fuchs, and then Harry Maguire steps across. He's got the ball inside his own penalty area, playing it out from the back towards Riyad Mahrez. Mahrez uses that blonde hair of his to glance it on, but Adarabioyo is there ahead of Jamie Vardy. 3 minutes plus of added time, so just under 5 minutes to play. Still plenty of time for another chance to maybe get a second for Manchester City or to equalise for Leicester. Iborra. The ball is then won by Deli Bashiru on the halfway line. Zinchenko now. And Deli Bashiru plays it back into central defence to Danilo. Kyle Walker is there, but he goes Danilo for a long, high 50, 60-yard pass that Amati watched very carefully and headed back to Ben Hamer. Almost 4 minutes of added time, so still 4 minutes to play. Hamer launches one to Mahrez, but Zinchenko wins it in the air against the Algerian. Gundogan brings it down, plays it back to Kyle Walker, and Walker now just chips it out towards the left-hand side. In the final portion of the programme as well, assuming we don't have extra time, we'll try and bring you interviews with Claude Puel and Pep Guardiola, Arsene Wenger as well, David Moyes perhaps. Arsenal still winning 1-0. We're on air till 10:30. Adrian Goldberg will take over then. But Leicester with the ball in their own right back position, and Marty is in danger of conceding a corner, but he's worked it out well to King. King's high ball towards Vardy on the halfway line. Adarabioyo wins that against Jamie Vardy, comes back towards Vardy, headed forward by Adarabioyo. Now Shinji Okazaki bounces off Zinchenko, hits Okazaki, and now Deli Bashiru on the left-hand side for Manchester City, and City in possession deep inside Leicester's territory, are in no hurry at all. But Okazaki's won it back from Toure, and now Damari Gray is off and running over the halfway line, takes on Kyle Walker. Damari Gray past Walker, the challenge comes in from Walker, it's a penalty. Gray goes down, he was shoved over. There wasn't too much contact from Walker, but there was enough, and Bobby Madley pointed to the spot, and a chance for Leicester to equalise deep in stoppage time.
You know what, Kyle Walker gets in a foot race with Damari Gray. There's not a tremendous amount of contact, but again, there's just enough, I think, to send Damari Gray tumbling to the floor, whether he clips the back of his heels or just accidentally nudges him. But again, why get involved in a challenge when Damari Gray is going to the byline at some serious pace? He can't possibly score from the angle he's at where Walker makes the challenge.
Yellow card for, I think, Danilo, who must have said something. So, a penalty for Leicester. Jamie Vardy takes the responsibility. Who better? Claudio Bravo on the line. We're in the 7th minute of added time. Jamie Vardy to equalise. He's found the bottom corner. Claudio Bravo went the right way, down to his right, but Vardy scores. It's 1-1, and we're headed for extra time.
Good penalty. Positive penalty. We've seen a lot lately where people are strolling up to the ball. That's a positive finish from Jamie Vardy. We're seeing Kyle Walker in deep discussion with referee Bobby Madley at this point. He obviously felt aggrieved by the penalty that was awarded. I would say it was a challenge. It was a poor challenge to make, an unnecessary one. Just looking at the amount of contact, there isn't a lot of contact, John, from what I can see. But Damari Gray has got the other side of Kyle Walker. So why start getting yourself into that position where you want to make that challenge?
So now this is really interestingly poised. With Manchester City, Pep Guardiola having sent on more youngsters, Mecha and Deli Bashiru on for their debuts, and now Leicester have got Vardy and Mahrez and Gray on the field. Who are the favourites to win it in extra time?
You would think now, at this point, you would have to say the home team. I think you would, definitely. You know, certainly with the fact they've got Mahrez, Damari Gray and Vardy on, they've got serious amounts of pace up front. Okazaki's still there, and who was always, as I mentioned earlier, so willing. So Leicester definitely favourites at this point. I think you usually are when you're behind in a game like this and you get back in it so late. I think it just fills you with energy.
Arsenal are the first team into the semi-finals. They've won 1-0 against West Ham. More on that from Alistair Bruce Ball and Kevin Kilban and co in a moment or two, but it looks we're only seconds away now from extra time. Jamie Vardy's penalty in the 7th minute of added time. Ball played over the top, but Vardy's in an offside position, and Bobby Madley points across to the assistant. Free kick to Manchester City. So listen, Andy, definitely the right call for a penalty.
Well, look, I think Kyle Walker has given him a chance, given the referee an option to make that call. He didn't need to get involved in that challenge. I think almost Kyle Walker was annoyed that Damari Gray had actually sprinted past him. You know, he could have just stayed inside of him, stayed goal side.
Pep Guardiola has just done that motion, that diving motion with his hands to, what was that, to the 4th official?
To the referee.
To the referee.
Guardiola's going straight out to the pitch.
Run onto the field, and he's actually run onto the field in order to pull Yaya Toure away from the referee. And Guardiola is now pulling away one of his coaching staff who was walking towards Bobby Madley and the officials. And And now he's pulling Kyle Walker away as well, who obviously is the player who conceded the penalty. So now, extra time. 1-1 after those 8 minutes of added time, during which, in the 7th minute, Jamie Vardy tucked away that penalty. Vardy scoring his 8th goal of the season, which means that Leicester won, Manchester City won after 90 minutes is the score. Mark Pugat.
Andy, on another day that wouldn't be given. Kyle Walker's got to be a bit more savvy, hasn't he? He gets so close to Damari Gray.
Of course he has, Mark.
Damari Gray's just waiting for some contact, isn't he?
He wants any opportunity to go down. This is that you're in the last minute of a quarter-final of a cup competition. Why do you want to get close enough to him to give the referee that half a chance, Mark, to make that call? That's what Kyle Walker did. And do you know what? That's still a problem for Kyle Walker. As good as he is, and as improved a player as he is, he still has that in him. And that's a worry in an England shirt. That's a worry next summer. You don't dive in, you don't get anywhere near people in that sort of situation. Damari Gray's going at 100 mile an hour straight towards the byline. Can't do anything with it from there other than just cross it and hope somebody else gets on the end of it. And then all of a sudden Kyle Walker gets too tight, he goes down, penalty given.
So we've got extra time here at the Emirates. It's all over. Alistair Bruce Ball, Arsenal have got over the line against West Ham.
Yeah, they're into the League Cup semi-finals, Mark, for the first time since 2011 when they went on to lose the final to Birmingham. Poor game, won by a scruffy goal just before half-time. Danny Welbeck got that goal. Arsenal dominated the game, Arsene Wenger having made 11 changes. I think the really disappointing thing from West Ham's point of view is that they didn't muster a shot on target. I think they had one effort on goal in the entire game. That was Aaron Cresswell's free kick, which is whipped wide of the far post. Andy Carroll, Diafra Sakho, Marko Arnautovic were thrown on in the last 15 minutes. Bit of a tame way to go out. I know David Moyes has got his mind on other things. West Ham still just 2 points above the bottom three, but a bit of a cruise for Arsenal in the end. And the stewards here, Mark, have had to move in pretty quickly just to separate a section where the Arsenal fans are very close to the West Ham fans. And just as I look at the moment, they've acted quickly to get in there. There are a couple of things being thrown from either sets of fans towards each other. I don't know what they are, whether that's programmes or plastic bottles or whatever. Bit of bad feeling between the two sets of fans, which you don't want to see. But Arsenal are through to the semi-finals. They've beaten West Ham 1-0.
Kevin Kilbane has been alongside Conor McNamara on Sports Extra. Anybody stand out tonight, Kevin, from either team?
Well, it was a pretty dull game. The only one that maybe take a bit of credit is young Joe Willock. He's coming tonight, starting the game. He's the only player that I would say, yes, he's shown something that he can maybe play at this sort of level. But neither goalkeeper was seriously tested. You've not really seen Joe Hart tested tonight when we have a good look at him. As Alice has already spoken about, West Ham one shot on goal, which is off target. Arsenal themselves only had one shot on target this evening, so it was a dull match. You can't say anything other than that. And the one thing, in relation to West Ham, I think, particularly when you bring Andy Carroll, Diafra Sakho and Marko Arnautovic on later on, put Arsenal's back four under pressure, and they just didn't do it. It was a pretty dull game throughout, Mark.
One very quick thing to add as well, Mark. Olivier Giroud off with a hamstring problem, so we'll have to find out how long that's going to keep him out. And Francis Coquelin went off late as well, holding his groin. That'll be the downside for Arsenal.
OK, we're underway here again. John Murray.
Kyle Walker crossing from the right. Gabriel Jesus with a header just outside the 6-yard box, but it was straight at goalkeeper Hamer, who was able to gather it into his body. But Andy Townsend, Kyle Walker there looked like a man trying to right a wrong.
He certainly did, didn't he? That's that's the strength of Kyle Walker there, when he picked the ball up deep in his own half and he clips it in behind the Leicester defence and has got the speed to get to it and then deliver a fantastic ball for Gabriel Jesus. Gets his head on it. Comfortable save in the end from Ben Hamer.
Or shall I say, right a perceived wrong.
Yeah, look, he'll feel aggrieved, and we can tell from the reaction from the City bench that so do they. But you know what? Difficult. Put yourself in Bobby Madley's shoes. Not easy when you see a little bit of a coming together, last minute of a big cup tie. Player hits the floor who looks like he's just in front of his opponent, and he gives a pen.
Leicester City 1, Manchester City 1. Extra time here on 5 Live. Shinji Okazaki couldn't bring the bouncing ball under control, and Yaya Toure was able to dispossess him. Toure, now if ever the word trundles is appropriate, it was for Yaya Toure as he brought the ball forward there with his sky blue shirt outside his white shorts. Here's Gundogan, plays it now towards the left corner of the box to Tom Deli Bashiru, who's making his debut. And again, if you weren't listening earlier, maybe if you were at the Arsenal-West Ham game, you just back into your car, you've just switched 5 Live on. Now we have a really interesting scenario here where Manchester City going for success on all fronts. Pep Guardiola has made changes. He's brought on Tom Dele-Bashiru and Lucas Nemecha, and here is Nemecha now on the right-hand side, who overruns it past Iborra, and Leicester have got it back. And so much inexperience in the City team that's out there.
Yeah, he was just trying to run the clock down, John, really. Yes, he was giving players a debut and he's happy to give them some game time, but the manager was really actually just trying to close the game out by just giving his team a breather and just making sure that they've got plenty of energy in there for those closing few minutes.
Lost one of his central defenders as well, Mangala, so Danilo is playing in central defence. Well, he can play there. Here's Iborra. So the feeling is that Leicester might just be favourites to win this now.
I think they are, if they're really positive, and I think if they keep getting the ball to Mahrez and Gray as often as they can, as high up the pitch as they can, I really do think they are favourites.
Long ball from the back for Leicester, it's missed by Danilo. Okazaki could be in, but the covering challenge came in. Kyle Walker, who was actually fouled as well by Okazaki.
Wow, Danilo slips there at such a crucial time. It was a through ball from Dragovic straight down the middle of the field. Danilo slips and Okazaki and Vardy are bearing down on it, and Kyle Walker does well on the cover just to deal with that.
Yeah, there's danger here for Manchester City. Lost only one match all season, Manchester City. That game in the final match day, as they call it, UEFA, of the Champions League, when they were already through as group winners, lost in Ukraine against Shakhtar Donetsk. Their only defeat in the 26, now nearly 27 matches that they've played in all competitions this season. But now here, their challenge for the Carabao Cup is certainly rocking. But Leicester have got to step up and take advantage. There's still danger lurking in the Manchester City side, and plenty of it as well. Gabriel Jesus still out there. Bernardo Silva is still out there. Gundogan, Yaya Toure. But the ball is back with Hamer at the moment. Played forward towards the right-hand side, where it's headed on by Amati. Cleared away by Adarabioyo for Manchester City. Amati allows it to bounce out to the right, thumps it forward, volleys it forward. Cleared by Adarabioyo. Gundogan wins a header on the halfway line. Now Lucas Nemecha back to Gundogan. There's space on the left-hand side. That's where Gabriel Jesus is. And Gundogan tried to play it through to the edge of the area to Bernardo Silva. Back to Gundogan, edge of the box. Challenge comes in on Tom Dele-Bashiru, and Leicester have cleared it, but only partially. Manchester City playing from left to right with Kyle Walker now. Ball in towards the edge of the area. Walker gets it back. Challenge comes in from Maguire. Oh, Walker goes down, and the referee says that was a dive by Kyle Walker.
Do you know,
I have to say that looked like a penalty to me, and he's yellow carded Kyle Walker, having conceded a penalty right at the end of normal time.
Yeah, Kyle Walker's done well not to get involved there, because he makes a great run through. Tell you what, Dragovic goes to the ground and clearly doesn't get the ball. It's whether he makes contact with Kyle Walker. You know what? That's as much of a penalty as the one he gave, John. That's as much of a penalty as the one that Bobby Madley has given. From the angles we've just seen there, we can't see if there's definite contact. But let me tell you, Dragovic was nowhere near the ball, lunging to the ground. And Kyle Walker definitely makes contact first.
We've had obviously the opportunity to see that 2-3 times again. But it looked like a penalty.
It did.
Here's Mahrez. Mahrez curling it in from the right-hand side, but into the arms of goalkeeper Claudio Bravo. But he is very unfortunate, Kyle Walker and Manchester City, not to be awarded a penalty.
And I think the card as well. I think the yellow card for Kyle Walker as well appears harsh. That does.
But we talk about the exaggerated reaction. Whether you call it a dive or whatever.
I didn't see an exaggerated reaction there from Kyle Walker at all.
Not enough.
No. Nothing like what we saw from Lanzini at the weekend, or nothing like that at all. He was running at full tilt into the box. He got the first contact. Dragovic slid in, didn't get the ball. Walker goes down. Bobby Madley immediately, he was adamant, immediately said no way was that a penalty, give the yellow card. But It's very, very close, I tell you.
So it's still 1-1 on 5 Live in this quarter-final. Iborra back to Mahrez. Mahrez into the area. It breaks for Vardy. It bounces off him. Vardy across the box. Gray's low ball across. Straight at Danilo on the edge of the 6-yard box, who was able to quickly change his feet and clear it away. Good extra time.
It is. Best moment in the game, this.
Gray now from the left. Gray is challenged by Gundogan and is sent flying, and it's a free kick for Manchester City, and I can for Leicester City, and I can feel the Manchester City frustration boiling.
Again, Gundogan goes to ground. He's complaining that he didn't touch Demarai Gray. The player hits the floor. Bobby Madley gives another free kick, and of course, City players at the moment feeling like every little decision going against them.
This cup tie, this quarter-final, has given us a really fascinating narrative now, with everything that's happened, from the team selections on, the substitutions, the incidents that are growing almost by the minute, and now a free kick, very much left of centre, closer to the corner of the Manchester City penalty area than it is to the D. Demarai Gray on his right foot, he can strike a dead ball. Mahrez there if he wants to curl it in, and in fact Mahrez will curl it in towards the back post, where it's headed down and wide by Harry Maguire in amongst a crowd of players.
Yeah, attacks it well, Harry Maguire, but just doesn't make the right contact. In the end, Danilo is, I think, or Lucas Lemaitre just does enough to put him off.
Carlisle are through to the third round of the FA Cup. They've knocked out Gillingham. 3-1 it finished, so it will be Carlisle at home to Sheffield Wednesday on third round weekend, which you'll hear in full. So many commentaries on 5 Live over the course of that FA Cup third round weekend. Leicester City 1, Manchester City 1, as Iborra, the ironic cheers, because Manchester City are awarded a free kick that Gundogan takes quickly. Gundogan through to Bernardo Silva, who's got space here but not a great deal of support, so Bernardo Silva has to turn and check it back towards Zinchenko out on the left hand side. Gabriel Jesus is out on the flank as well. His return pass is overhit to Zinchenko, and Leicester are able to clear it. Dragovic out of play via a deflection. Throw in Manchester City. And you know, we're so used this season to seeing Manchester City in that sort of position where Bernardo Silva had the ball there, just having so many options.
Yeah, but
there weren't any here. Out of play, another throw into Manchester City on the left flank. Zinchenko, who is level with the edge of the penalty. In fact, it's a free kick given for the challenge on Zinchenko. So a set-piece opportunity for Manchester City. But I mean, really, Leicester, in terms of height, are towering over Manchester City. Their players. There's only Yaya Touré who's now trotting into the penalty area. Cross is going to be delivered by Gundogan out on the left flank, standing 1 foot off the pitch, 1 foot on. 1-1 the score. Gundogan's ball in, whipped it into the near post, and Iborra headed it. Yeah. He was backpedaling there in Iborra and headed it down and behind for a corner.
It certainly was. It's a difficult one, that, for a defender. Running back towards your own goal, you're at full tilt. You're always worried that you're going to get a little glancing header, you're going to fly it past your own goalkeeper.
10 minutes played in extra time. Still 1-1. Corner is taken. Back to Zinchenko, who hits it in long and angled, but Harry Maguire, under no particular pressure, just heads it down and out of play on the right hand side, and then runs his fingers through his hair. Harry Maguire of Leicester City and England. Throw in. Walker to take this, who's been a central figure since he came on as a substitute, conceding the penalty at the end of, right at the end almost of normal time. Vardy scoring in the 7th minute of added time to make it 1-1, but soft-ish penalty. Yeah. Demarai Gray going down. I mean, if we're talking about a dive for that there, and it sort of marks out of 10, with 10 being a dive, where is it with
Demarai Gray? I think it is on 5 or 6.
Okay.
I think it is.
Manchester City swinging a high ball out towards the left-hand side where Gabriel Jesus miscontrols it. Throw in Leicester.
Demarai Gray was just fractionally in front of Kyle Walker. They were in a little bit of a foot race. He was just in front of the Leicester winger. So inevitably, if the fullback makes any contact or wants to have a dip towards the ball and he doesn't get it, then the flying winger's going to go over.
Just to restate it, well, I will restate it in a moment, but here's Bernardo Silva now, riding the challenge, or holding off the challenge from Harry Maguire, but slipped as he played it forward. Leicester then clearing it downfield. Vardy, he heads it forward. Danilo pulls the ball down, but it's awkward, it's bouncing. He has to turn and give it back towards Claudio Bravo, who takes it. Oh, it comes off Vardy and bounces narrowly wide.
Wow.
Oh, Vardy was like Quicksilver. He was all over Claudio Bravo like a rat.
Do you know, the ball back from Danilo to Claudio Bravo was lively. Let me tell you that, it's bobbling back towards the goalkeeper on the edge of his 6-yard box. He takes a touch and Vardy smothers that first touch, and it very nearly ricochets off the striker's knee straight into the back of the net. Bravo was so relieved to see it go out for a goal kick.
Wasn't he just? Goal kick to Manchester City. Oh dear me. But the pivotal moments, just to restate it, Manchester City were winning 1-0, scored in the first half, Bernardo Silva, then right at the end, decision given as a penalty for Leicester, for Walker's challenge on Damari Gray, as Okazaki is challenged by Toure. That's not a free kick. Here's Bernardo's, here's Gundogan on the halfway line. Gundogan checks away from Iborra, and then early in extra time, Kyle Walker looked as though he should have had a penalty, but was booked for diving. Here is Walker again. Walker plays it in towards Deli Bashiru in the central area. Bounces out to Nemecha on the right-hand side. Bernardo Silva to Gundogan. Gundogan will prod forward towards the teenager Deli Bashiru, but it bounces off Gundogan, and Harry Maguire is able to head it back to Ben Hamer. They're not posing too many problems, Manchester City, the Manchester City team that are out there now.
No, they're not. There are some younger guys out there now that are delighted to get some game time, but it's a big ask for them to step up and make a significant difference on such a big occasion.
If you haven't heard, Arsenal are through. They beat West Ham 1-0 at the Emirates tonight in what sounded like not much of a game, frankly. And Nemecha goes down, and that's not given us a free kick halfway inside the Leicester half. And now Mahrez carrying the ball forward, but his pass was a little short to Damari Gray. Walker stepped forward, intercepted it before it reached the Leicester man. Now Bernardo Silva on the right-hand side. Gabriel Jesus is making a run off him. Bernardo Silva with a run. He's away from Dragovic. Gives it back to Deli Bashiru, who is caught there by Harry Maguire, who is late on the challenge. It's a free kick to Manchester City.
And a yellow card for Harry Maguire. There's a chance. There was a good run from Bernardo Silva. From the right-hand side, he went all the way across the field. Found Tom Deli Bashiru, who was just trying to prod it on one more and got clattered by Harry Maguire. Free kick. And I would say we're looking at 25 yards out.
Just slightly left of centre. Yaya Toure is in discussions with Bernardo Silva. Tosin Adarabioyo has come across as well, the 20-year-old. Just having a little word about it. In actual fact, he just speaks to Toure Adarabioyo and now takes up a position in the wall and then just motions with his arm.
Do you know what's interesting, John? We've got Yaya Toure over this one. We haven't seen him, have we, over the top of a City free kick for some time, on so many occasions. When they've needed a big goal, when they've needed a big moment, this guy has provided it for them.
He scored the goal that's won them this competition in the past, and here is Yaya Toure over the wall, and Hamer to his right gets a good sight on it. Didn't have the whip, did it, and Hamer was able to get across there and parry it down, and that is it for the first period of extra time. So it is still Leicester City 1, Manchester City 1. The big talking point in that half of extra time was the yellow card for Kyle Walker for diving. Our view was it should have been a Manchester City penalty, Mark Pugac.
Well, I don't think Walker was touched, but only because, Andy, he'd made sure I thought he was trying to hurdle the challenge almost.
He'd avoided it, yeah.
He avoided it. I think if he hadn't tried to avoid it, he would have been brought down, I thought, reading that. What do you think?
I totally agree, Mark. And you know what? it's like Manuel Lanzini at the weekend. If he just drags his legs, if he doesn't jump up in the air, and there's going to be inevitable contact. Our players now going to have to do this. It shouldn't be the case, you know. You can be impeded, you can be fouled without there necessarily being knocked 6 foot up in the air. I thought it was very harsh to give Kyle Walker a yellow card. I really did. I thought he was running at pace. Dragovic clearly didn't make contact with the ball. He's trying to evade that challenge. He goes down, and you know what? I've seen them given as well. I really have. It's not been an easy night for the referee, Bobby Madley. It really hasn't.
It certainly hasn't. So Arsenal beaten West Ham by 1-0. Danny Welbeck just before half-time. So Arsenal in the semi-final draw, which will be made after the games tomorrow night. Chelsea-Bournemouth will be on Sports Extra, and we'll be at Ashton Gate for Bristol City against Manchester United for our commentary. And Carlisle have beaten Gillingham by 3-1 in the FA Cup. That's what else has happened this evening. But we've got a rather dramatic last 15 minutes. I'm looking to see whether the grid is being constructed. Oh, and of course, John, do you just want to explain to everybody, we could have ABBA, of course, couldn't we?
Yeah, colleagues just said to me, actually, is it ABBA in this competition? But I know for definite it is, because if you remember, Mark, I think you were on that night. I was at Burnley when Leeds knocked out Burnley on penalties with the ABBA system. I thought I might be discombobulated by it, but actually we got through it. We got through it, and Leeds won. So that would be the system that we have. For those who don't know, the new system, ABBA. So the first team will take the first penalty, and then the next 2 penalties will be taken by the other team, and so on. 2 penalties each after that. But still got 15 minutes of action before that.
Yeah, we have. And looking forward to it, John. I am looking forward to it, because the game now has become, it's really in the balance. You know, it could really, really go either way. Every time you think Leicester are just getting on top, all of a sudden Bernardo Silva or Gundogan, they produce a little bit of something to threaten Leicester once more, and vice versa. When City all of a sudden on the attack, you've got that counter-attacking speed of Vardy and Mahrez and Damari Gray. So anything can happen here.
Anything can happen in the next 15 minutes. It's 1-1, and it is the second period of extra time, and you're listening to it with us on BBC 5 Live. Not complaining, Andy, at all about this extra time. Really enjoyed it tonight.
No, it's been good.
I'm staying in town tonight. Don't know how far to go. You've only got 30 miles to go to get back home, and it'll take you a fraction of the time that it took you to get here.
Hopefully, John.
Unless they've closed the motorways, which is a real favourite. Here's Gabriel Jesus, who concedes a throw-in. At least it was played off him out for a throw. And Marty takes it downfield. Leicester City attacking from left to right in this second period of extra time, as we look here from high up on the dressing room side of the ground. And the stadium, 1 or 2 I think might have had to go. You never know, there might be still a school night, isn't it? The end of term, maybe they've had to go. That would be a popular call. Long and forward, Amati heads it down. Here's Iborra, but almost everyone else still in position here at an almost full King Power Stadium. And Manchester City with Kyle Walker, substitute Walker, who's been involved in some incidents since he came onto the field. Walker continues down the right-hand side, but the ball is won back from Lucas Nemecha, one of the Manchester City debutants, and it's deflected out of play for a throw-in on the left-hand side. And of course, remember, there is the possibility as well as the ABB, the penalties, that teams can make an extra substitution in extra time as well, should they want to do that, but neither manager has yet. Here is Dragovic at the back, who was fortunate not to concede a penalty at the start of extra time. Back to Hamer, the Leicester goalkeeper, clears towards Vardy, who is challenged by Adarabioyo. The ball bounces back to Danilo put under pressure by Vardy. Now Gray pressing Walker, but Gray passes it towards Nemecha, who loses possession, and now Fuchs on the left-hand side. Okazaki on the edge of the area. Important challenge from Danilo. Took ball and man. Excellent challenge from the Brazilian. And Danilo passes it forward towards Nemecha. Now the little Portuguese, Bernardo Silva, wins a throw-in on the far side, 10 yards inside the Leicester City half.
Of course, as the minutes slowly start to tick down, John, the managers will be looking at penalties and thinking about them and who they're going to send up for their 5.
Just sense that the mist is beginning to gather as well. I think fog is forecast, isn't it, overnight? for certain parts of the country. Don't worry, I don't think there's any danger of the remainder of this game being fogged off. That's not a problem. Here's Zinchenko on the left-hand side, the blonde-haired Ukrainian. Gabriel Jesus, not scored in his last 8, almost 9 appearances now for Manchester City, and then overhits the pass to Zinchenko, and there's a little bit of frustration there. And the Manchester City team that is out there now, not looking so invincible, but they're still right in this. Okazaki heads it on. Vardy shanks it forward, slices it forward, but way beyond Gray. And Claudio Bravo, who was nearly embarrassed by Vardy in the first period of extra time when Vardy closed him down. Claudio Bravo has got the ball inside his penalty area, just runs it from one side to the other, turns, passes it back to Danilo, and Danilo with a huge muddy smudge on the left side of his white shorts, passes it to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva to Gundogan. Now Numecha on the right hand side, taken on by Gundogan, but little challenge from Okazaki, so effective, such an all-round player. Okazaki now dispossessed by a combination of Gundogan and Touré. Okazaki's left on the ground. Now danger for Leicester City as Numecha takes it forward to the edge of the area, but cuts it back straight at Iborra, who's able to calmly readjust and play it away. But Manchester City are back in possession after a careless pass infield by Gray. Zinchenko is going to shoot from 25 yards, and it dips narrowly over the top of the Leicester City crossbar.
Beautiful strike, wasn't it, from Zinchenko? As soon as he got hold of that, he actually shrugged Deli Bashiri out the way and said, "This is mine." And as soon as he got it, he's shaping up for a shot. He hits that so sweet, long way out. It's literally about a foot over the top of the bar.
Leicester are going to make a 4th substitution, and it's the rarely spotted Yohan Benalouan who is going to come onto the field. He's not played this season, and it's Dragovic who's only played himself 3 times this season, so perhaps just feeling it. He does look a little stiff as he walks off the field.
Dragovic looks like he's carrying a knock there. Benalouan it is who comes on.
I thought they were going to have to Dragovic him off for a minute.
Yeah, certainly Leicester out of the 2 teams would have 5 penalty takers, you feel, that had the experience, perhaps the know-how to cope with that a little bit better than City. I'm looking at the City boys at the minute. Should we get the distance and go there?
Ball breaks forward, but the offside flag goes up against Vardy, so it's a Manchester City ball.
Looking at the City players, John, Yaya, Gundogan, perhaps Kyle Walker, Bernardo Silva, Gabriel Jesus, perhaps that would be a 5. Kyle Walker wouldn't want one necessarily, I wouldn't have thought, but after that you're handing that.
Back pass is a little short from Adarabioyo. Vardy was almost onto it, but Claudio Bravo was alive to it and cleared it.
Yeah, after that you're asking one of the younger guys to take one. We'll see.
Gray nipped it back for Leicester. Vardy back to Gray, left side of the area. Gray, well done. Kyle Walker went with him, put in the challenge, and it bounced. Those are the 2 of them again together there. Yeah. Gray and Walker. Corner, Leicester.
Again, Damari Gray it was. Plays a great one too with Vardy. This time Kyle Walker just goes shoulder to shoulder with him.
Corner is taken short by Leicester. Manchester City have to get themselves organised quickly here. Gray's right-footed cross is in, headed down, and Borrow is after it. Not sure he got a clean contact. Cleared away by City. City are off on the counter-attack with Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva's looking at the options that he's got. He's still going, Bernardo Silva. He angles the ball along the edge of the penalty area. He was looking for Deli Bashiru, but it was cleared away by Leicester. It's just slightly behind the teenager, and then a foul on King by Gundogan. Ball's out of play on the far side. No, it's not a foul. It's only a throw-in on the far side. Throw-in to Manchester City.
End to end now, of course. A lot of tired legs out there.
And remember, Manchester City, on this cup run in the Carabao Cup, have already won 1 penalty shootout against Wolverhampton Wanderers in the previous round. And Claudio Bravo turned out to be the pivotal figure in that penalty shootout. Made 2 saves.
Do you know what? He could even take one tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if he steps up and takes one, because he is that good with his feet.
Yes, that is not beyond the bounds of belief. Benalouan hits an awful pass forward. Well, maybe we'll excuse him because he's just come onto the field. but that was way beyond Mahrez, and it's a goal kick, and we have got 7 minutes before the penalty shootout, and no one else is going anywhere. Place is full. Excellent theatre. Claude Puel, Leicester City's relatively new manager, is there, moving his arms from side to side on the edge of his coaching area. That's just about as animated as you ever see him. And there he actually turns away in frustration because a decision has gone against Leicester City. Claude Puel with the blue jacket, he's wearing that sort of quilted body warmer underneath it, as is his way. It's like a quilted waistcoat. Here is Manchester City playing it back to Adarabioyo, who's had Vardy all over him. He looks like an absolute live wire. Jamie Vardy scored from the penalty spot. 7th minute of added time to take it to extra time. Harry Maguire now steps forward into the centre circle. Maguire plays it for Gray to chase. Danilo comes across and beats Gray to it, just pops it out of play for a throw-in on the left-hand side. Throw into Leicester, and they're calling for Fuchs. They want the long throw from Fuchs. Iborra wants it. He's signalling to Christian Fuchs, who's drying the ball on his shirt. Leicester City score now. That may well be Manchester City out.
They've got Benalouan as well now, another really tall guy in there.
Here's the Fuchs throw to Benalouan, and Benalouan is pulled up for a foul inside the penalty area. So a free kick to Manchester City. I'm not sure there's a great deal in that, but it's a free kick to Manchester City. Claudio Bravo doesn't seem to be in a great hurry. Manchester City just beginning to look like they might take their chance on penalties. Claudio Bravo's long clearance downfield. Header won by Amati. Now Shinji Okazaki. Gundogan wins the ball. Leicester feel that might have been a foul in the centre circle, but a long ball forward to Mahrez on the right-hand side. Vardy's waiting in the middle. Zinchenko is incredibly tight there on Mahrez. Well played, but Mahrez does well. Plays it in! Claudio Bravo has to dive and parry it away, and then King is beaten to it on the edge of the Manchester City box. Brilliant ball from Mahrez. City downfield, they're breaking the other way. Bernardo Silva's pass doesn't find Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah, wrong option there. Bernardo Silva stepped inside looking for that more forward pass. Should have kept possession.
And now Mahrez turns in the centre circle and plays the ball through to Vardy, who is sent tumbling on the edge of the box. Danilo with a challenge, and it's not a penalty. The referee says play on. Well, Danilo looked to have checked Jamie Vardy there, to me, I have to say.
It's a great ball from Vardy. Actually, great ball from Mahrez. I think actually both players are at the same there. I really do. I don't think that is a penalty, that one.
In that case, well done, Bobby Madley.
Claude Puel is going crazy. I think both players have got their arms up and are just trying to resist each other there.
And actually, the players did get up,
yes,
and get on with it.
Get on with it, they did, John, you're right.
Leicester 1, Manchester City 1. Thrilling extra time. And enough penalty incident to fill a whole 6:06 in this match. Throw into Manchester City on the right-hand side. Adrian Goldberg will be along as soon as we're finished on 5 Live Sport tonight, but obviously we will overrun by a little while if there is no winner and we go to penalties. Manchester City in possession, and we have 3 minutes, just a little over 3 minutes to play. I'm not ruling out that we might see a winning goal in this match. Bernardo Silva swings it out to the left-hand side. Gabriel Jesus now with the option on the edge of the area of Deli Bashiru, who tried to play it back to Gabriel Jesus, but Benalouan and Amati did their job. However, it is a corner to Manchester City.
Yeah, Benalouan actually puts that out for a corner. I'm not sure he should. We're just seeing another run here of the Vardy-Danilo situation. No, I don't think that's a penalty at all. I really don't.
Corner taken short by Manchester City. Bernardo Silva and Gundogan together. Gundogan plays it to Deli Bashiru. Now back to Zinchenko. Deli Bashiru again turns. He has space here. He lays it into the full-back position for Bernardo Silva, who's done well to win the... No, it didn't go out. He played it onto Amati. I thought it had bounced over the line.
It looked like
Referee Madley looked at his assistant, and his assistant didn't flag, so no corner. Play continues. Deli-Bashiro with a nice touch to Zinchenko. Back to Deli-Bashiro. It runs actually to Gundogan. One or two players who were in an offside position. Gundogan has played it to Bernardo Silva, who I thought was one of those who'd come back from an offside position. Played to the edge of the area to Deli-Bashiro, but he just touched it off to no one. And Harry Maguire is off and running. One of those marauding Harry Maguire runs. He's taken it 3/4 of the length of the field, Harry Maguire, and he now chips it to Vardy, who volleys it goalwards but miskicked it, and Bravo is able to drop on it.
What a great run that was from Harry Maguire. The crowd are on their feet, they love that.
Oh, it's like hot shot Hamish.
He certainly was.
Apart from the shot, obviously.
He still had the quality to stand a little cross up for Jamie Vardy, who just didn't strike the volley sweetly at all.
That's one for older listeners, by the way. Hot shot Hamish.
Yes.
Ball with Manchester City on the right-hand side. Time ticking down. It's chipped across by Nemecha, but beyond anyone in any hue of blue, and it's out of play for a throw into Leicester in their own right back area. We've got 1 minute to go, Andy Townsend.
Yeah. You're seeing Guardiola, he applauds his team, he's cajoling them, motivating them, always standing there on the edge of his technical area, pointing out if any player is slightly out of position, he's quick to remind them.
Throw in for Leicester. In the penalty shootout against Wolves, the City penalties were taken by balls played back towards Bravo, who just controlled and got rid of it with Vardy quite close to him. They were taken on that night by De Bruyne, Touré, Sané and Aguero, so there's only one of those here on the field. Here is Deli-Bashiro does well, draws the challenge. Yaya Touré with a shot from 25 yards, but Hamer saw it easily. Again, it didn't have the whip from Touré, and it was an easy take.
He had the option, Yaya, there to really put his foot through that and drill it. In the end, he's about 25 yards out. He tries to curl it. Ben Hamer sees it all the way, and it's easily dealt with.
There was a time, wasn't there, when Yaya Touré, that would have found the back of the net.
Oh, yeah.
A sight of goal like that, in his prime, at his best. But it's out, and we're into added time at the end of extra time. So penalties are just seconds away. You'll hear them unfold here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Perhaps time for one final attack. And Leicester City are mounting it. And Maguire has been able to roll the ball to Damari Gray, who's running at Walker into the penalty area on the left-hand side. Walker puts in the challenge. Gray is still there. Gray runs back out into the full-back position. He's got support from Fuchs. Need to get the ball in. Gray still has it at his feet. There are three Manchester City players around him. Gray plays it off Kyle Walker, and I think that might be the last action of the game. Bobby Madley has a look. There's a foul on Nemecha, and that is the last action. Well, breathless, thrilling stuff. That is, you know, there are good and bad extra times, and that was a good one.
Exactly, and nice to see Guardiola and Claude Puel shaking hands and affording each other a little smile as now they both retreat to their technical areas to get their 5 penalty takers sorted out. Interesting this, John.
Exciting stuff. No further goals, but further incident in extra time. But it is 1-1 after extra time, and that means penalties for a place in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup.
Right, well, John gets his grid together and we gather our thoughts. Let's get some reaction from the Emirates. Arsenal, the first team into the semi-finals. They beat West Ham by 1-0 tonight. Danny Welbeck with it. Here's the West Ham manager, David Moyes.
Well, our performance was honest and determined and trying to do all the right things and play with a good organisation and shape. What we lack is quality, which is showed at times. But I've got to say, we kept at it. We played Arsenal 2 games and we've lost 1 goal, and the one we lost tonight was as bad as you would get. It certainly wasn't what you would sort of put down as an Arsenal type goal. So our defending could have been better on it. But I've got to say the players have worked really hard in the games, and tonight we didn't play well enough. But we were never out of the game, and it always gave us a chance of maybe getting back in it.
Is that the real frustration though, David? Because I did want to ask you about the goal conceded, because you got a couple of centre-backs in there. It was a real scruffy one, wasn't it?
Oh, it was really poor, you know. I thought we should have done better even with the first ball in, to defend the ball sort of to the back post, to get headed back in the middle of the goal. And I'm hoping that one of the centre-halves clear it out and we get away with it. and we have been defending well recently, so I wouldn't say it was a surprise, but I would say that I wasn't expecting it, that's for sure.
Arsenal into the draw tomorrow night. Tomorrow we'll have Chelsea Bournemouth live on Sports Extra, and we'll have Bristol City against Manchester United. Kasper Schmeichel, in the warmest coat he can find, is out there giving Ben Hamer a little bit of support. And of course, Andy, you spotted the iPads out there as well. Having a look at that, of course, mine goes back to Ben Foster, wasn't it, in goal for Manchester United in the final against Tottenham, wasn't it? And he'd done his homework on the iPad.
You're absolutely right, Mark. Yep, I think that Mike Stowell, the goalkeeping coach, just showing Ben Hamer that where one or two of those potential penalties might end up.
Maybe showing them the Wolves penalty shootout.
Yes, yeah.
But
exactly.
although in saying that, it was only
only one of them.
Took that one. A lot of there again,
I have to say, in that last half hour, that was the Riyad Mahrez of the championships. When the season they won the championship, was how thrilling it was whenever he got the ball and driving at the opposition, and really causing chaos.
The atmosphere, Mark, was very similar to that, wasn't it? You know, that last period, everybody in the stadium that were really up for it, really noisy and vibrant and urging their team forward.
Do you think the Leicester City technical people did a search for find Lucas Nemecha penalties?
Yes.
They look good, actually, didn't they? The kids, a couple of the Manchester City substitutes were very comfortable on the ball, Andy, didn't they, when they came on?
No, they did look very good. And you know, penalties are, I've been in this situation before, I've taken them, and it's not easy. You have to focus, and for some of the younger players in particular, it can be tough.
So who's going to take the first ones? The players of Manchester City and Leicester who are involved are on the halfway line. The two goalkeepers are moving to the end to our left, so that is actually at the Manchester City end, or at least they're in the corner of the stadium, at that end of the ground. Leicester City fans behind the goal, and the first penalty is entrusted to the experienced Leicester City defender Christian Fuchs, who is making that long walk. Bobby Madley, the referee, I noticed, has made sure that all of the Manchester City coaches and substitutes have actually left the field. He's a stickler for that. So it is Fuchs will take the first penalty for Leicester. 5 Live, the drama of a penalty shootout here at the King Power Stadium. And remember, it is the ABBA system. So Leicester will take the first one, and then it'll be 2 each from then on. Right, Christian Fuchs. Claudio Bravo dancing on his line. And up comes the Austrian and drives it high into the net. Bravo dived the right way to his left, but it was above him, and Leicester City lead 1-0.
Yeah, good penalty. Positive penalty, and again, that trusted left foot. Strikes a beautiful ball, Christian Fuchs, and he did so again there, high to Claudio Bravo's left, and he can't get anywhere near it.
So we'll now have 2 consecutive Manchester City penalties, the first of which will be taken by İlkay Gündoğan, the German international, taking a penalty in a shootout. We know what normally happens. Gündoğan went right down the middle and scored it.
Cool 1-1. As you like. Cool as you could possibly be. And again, I think the sort of player that exudes supreme confidence in that situation. He didn't even feel like that there might be a threat of him missing that one.
It's a brilliant buzz around the stadium here, isn't there? Are Leicester going to knock Manchester City out and get through into the semi-finals? Are Manchester City going to stay on course to win everything this season? All will be decided in the next few minutes. Yaya Touré, the Manchester City captain tonight, places the ball on the spot, turns, a run-up of 4 or 5 yards. Here he comes, a little delay, and tucks it away. Hamer goes the wrong way. 2-1 Manchester City.
Again, no panic for Yaya, was it? Just puts a little shimmy and stutter into that run-up, and then waits for Ben Hamer just to dip to his left and whips it across the goalkeeper cleanly into the corner.
Central defender Harry Maguire next for Leicester. So we will now have 2 Leicester penalties, one after the other. I think he just betrayed his nerves there, Maguire, as he was walking forward, rubbed his palm on the side of his shorts, sort of nervous gesture. Right-footed penalty this will be. Maguire standing 1 foot in front of the other against Claudio Bravo, and he sends the goalkeeper the wrong way.
Well played,
2-2.
Well done. And he urges the crowd to get behind the next penalty that they take. But that was a very, very calm and composed finish.
Now it's the Spaniard, Iborra, who was involved in all of the Sevilla Europa League dramas, you know, so he's used to this sort of experience, penalty shootouts and all that. Former captain of Sevilla walks calmly forward.
Claude Puel there, just looking at the floor. Doesn't even want to watch the penalty.
All four have been successful so far. This is to put Leicester 3-2 in front. Iborra standing on the edge of the penalty area, right-footed, and into the bottom corner. Claudio Bravo went the right way, but it was right in the bottom corner.
Do you know, the manager, great penalty by the way, the manager, John, is just staring at the floor. Unless he's got a monitor or something down by his feet, but I don't think he has.
No, he's not. No, he's just looking at the ground.
He's not even picked his head up now whilst the opponents are shaping up to take theirs.
Is this the youngster, Nemecha? Lucas Nemecha, it is, who's been sent forward. Turned 19 last week, thrown into the action. Leicester are winning 3-2 in the penalty shootout. Now the teenager for Manchester City. Oh, he scored into the bottom corner.
Well
that
done.
Looked like.
Well done.
Did he hit that cleanly?
Oh, I don't care. Well done, young man. Because I tell you what, John, he's not been on long. He hits it well enough. He hits it well enough into the far corner. Nice and cool and in total control of himself there. Well done.
So another Manchester City penalty now. Two English players have scored their penalties, incidentally. But it's a Brazilian, Gabriel Jesus. This to put Manchester City 4-3 in front. All of the penalties successful so far. Gabriel Jesus. Oh, lovely bit of Brazilian flair there. Came up, sort of high kicking almost, and then plunked it into the bottom corner.
You know, he was just watching Ben Hamer the whole way, Gabriel Jesus, and just tiptoed up to the ball and then just rolled it into the opposite direction to which the keeper dived.
So the Manchester City centre forward Gabriel Jesus scores to put City 4-3 up. Manchester City 4-3 up. Now it's the Leicester City number 9, Jamie Vardy, who has already scored from the penalty spot against Claudio Bravo in this match in normal time. He went into the bottom corner, this time drives it wide. It's gone wide and Manchester City lead 4-3. Vardy shakes his head. Claudio Bravo went to his right and I think it flicked the post on the way wide.
Yeah, it looks like it hits the post and goes wide. Claudio Bravo went that way, but it's hit the post and gone wide.
So it's 4-3 to Manchester City. So now it is Mahrez, and Mahrez must score this.
Has to score this.
Otherwise, Manchester City have won the tie. They will still have another chance, but Mahrez must score, otherwise it's all over. Left-footed, and it's saved by Claudio Bravo, just like the last round of the competition. Bravo saves 2 of the spot kicks. Manchester City win the penalty shootout. They're through to the semi-finals. Leicester City are out. How cruel on Claude Puel and his team. And Manchester City are still firing on all fronts. City are through.
Well done. Well done to the City boys, because you have to hold your nerve in penalty shootouts. They're not easy, but they did that. The goalkeeper made himself big for that last one from Riyad Mahrez. Ironically, Vardy and Mahrez missing their penalties. You wouldn't have backed that before